Hello there, you awakening wonders. Thank you so much for joining me for Stay Free with Russell Brand. We've got so many fantastic subjects to discuss with you and a glorious guest. We're going to talk about Trump, how he says he would end the war in 24 hours off YouTube, because you might be watching us on YouTube now. You might be one of our 6.52 million awakening wonders that are tired of the mainstream news, that are tired of establishment power, that are tired of being lied to, and believe we can create something new and wonderful. And for the first 15 minutes, we will be with you. But then we're going to migrate like a glorious miasma, like a sweet phantom, over to the home of free speech that I dare not mention, not because it's like Voldemort or wicked and stuff, but case the algorithm's against it. Because guess what Tucker revealed? He never gave himself so much as a snip snap. Tucker revealed he never gave himself so much as a jib jab. Tucker revealed, didn't he? Allegedly. No, it's not allegedly, because he revealed it. That's
learn what
I know what it means. It means controversial, doesn't it? Same as controversial.
It means getting in trouble with YouTube.
Not with that little guy. That's my little. That stops me getting in any trouble. That does. If the WHO didn't interfere with us communicating openly on YouTube, it's meant to be a public platform, but we'll get to the bottom of all that, along with so many subjects. And we'll be talking about the morality that undergirds behavior reporting and systemic governance with Jack Cornfield, a world
there's two shifts
teacher.
at
We'll be talking about
the
more perspectives on AI, on Tucker's revelation. Does he have the bodily autonomy to make such a claim? Does he have a responsibility as a role model?
First shift goes from 5 a.m.
Is there a leadership crisis? What does he think about Trump's stand on war?
Okay,
Get your questions in now. You could join us if you're on Rumble, right? See
I get it.
on the bottom of your screen. See it? See if you're watching us on Rumble. Press it. Press down on it. Press down on it hard, baby. Like, for example, a nipple. Because Jim Earthsea, one of our locals community members, says, I wonder if we'll see Russ's nips today. I wonder indeed, Jim Earthsea. I wonder indeed.
Chance.
There's a very high. Yeah, smash that like button, says someone else. Gareth Shirt is lovely, says Georgie Gale. Hannah Sharp, Fripples, show them, Russell. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't. You didn't just objectify me. I'll pull shut my lilac cardigan so hard. Also, on Here's the News, we'll be analysing that moment when Tucker took down Pence. And look at all the new emergent independent voices in media spaces. 45% of Americans, Gareth Roy, no less, say they would consider voting for a third-party candidate. Does it mean that it's fracturing? Is the system falling apart? Are we in a new Rubicon? Our systems tumbling and crumbling? Let us know. Join us on Locals. Join the chat. Plus, you know how we believe in freedom of speech. We're going to be bringing you some sweet free speech along with our caffeine.
Well, I'll scan those and I'll put it on the startup because
they don't really call him the Governator. That was Schwarzenegger, wasn't it?
Forklift drivers and stuff like that. They usually want to try to pull from before they come to me.
A little bit later. That's not on this show. We'll be
Spend the money to advertise
later in the week. Join us in our Locals community. Should we have a look at this first story? How exactly does Donald Trump, among all of his claims, say that he's going to end war in 24 hours? We've also got the results of a poll that we send. You post the poll in this chat as well. Now, so they can join in case they haven't done it. Okay, let's have a look at Trump saying that he would end war in just a day. He's like David Bowie. He's a hero, but not just for one day. He can end a war in just one day. Join us on Rumble if you're watching us elsewhere. Let's have a look at this news story.
I started somebody last week
and the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. Yes, how would you?
I'm not going to just pull people off the street anymore.
I felt he was very honorable.
I did like 5 interviews.
The phone call that I made, he said it was indeed very.
Well, this is just the mixed plan.
He could have branched.
What you like about Trump? But he does mediate everything through his ego.
Yeah.
And it like if someone says something that's nice about him,
it's much
he
more
likes that.
Yeah, the perfect phone call.
His billing's 100.
Hello? Oh no, sorry, you go first. Sorry, I was going to say, oh hi, hello, I'm just driving. Sorry. Oh no, it's going from the headphones to the car Bluetooth. No, not with Trump. Straight in there.
I just like
that's your client
after talking to Trump. You know,
I staffed
Russian invasion was mooted and all these things, but there would have been a call between them. But Zelensky got funny.
Staffing.
You know what? That was the perfect phone call.
How do you even analyze that? What's the metric for evaluating the perfect phone call? Like it's an ice dance that you could hold up a 10 to.
I felt threatened.
Well, that's not going to be enough for Putin to stop bombing.
No. What I'm saying is that I know Zelensky very well and I know Putin very well.
So, like the idea that knowing people well is the way to solve these problems, because actually, what Trump suggests strategically and tactically is saying to Putin, we would give Ukraine so many weapons that they would win this war. So in a sense, he's just saying he would amplify what's happening. So what do you think about that, guys? Particularly those of you that love Trump. Because it's interesting, isn't it? Because we're now living in a time where there are emergent independent voices. And in a sense, you can say Trump was the harbinger of that. Whether you like Trump or not, there's no doubt that he was a berserker in the system, a bull in the China shop. He is not the preferred candidate of the establishment. I think it's safe to say that now. And perhaps in his wake, we have the emergence of figures like RFK, friend of the show. If you've not donated to the fund for me to do pull-ups against RFK, for God's sake, donate now. Let's post a link to that in the description, because not in the description, in the chat on Locals, because baby, I'm gonna pull him up so hard. I am ready to pull up. I'm telling you, perfect pull up, the perfect pull up. I'm gonna do perfect. Look at the form, all the way down, full extension, all the way up, chin above, chest down. That's the kind of pull up competition that I'm interested in. So let's see how Trump actually would end war in 24 hours.
Better. And I had a good relationship, very good with both of them. I would tell Zelensky, no more. You got to make a deal. I would tell Putin, if you don't make a deal, we're going to give them a lot. We're going to give more than they ever got if we have to.
Good that he sort of publicly tells us as well exactly what the strategy is. Zelensky, no more. Putin, more.
But he goes from diplomacy to the complete opposite of diplomacy in about 3 seconds. It's a strange tactic and strategy.
In a sense, he is the perfect indication of the times that we live in. The old systems are dying. We're becoming weary of the rhetoric of systemic power. The US are pressuring the Ukraine to push harder in the counteroffensive. Gareth, you had a point to make on this story.
No, I just think it's amazing that this is going on, that the US government and the military are getting frustrated with Ukraine for how the counteroffensive is going, despite Mark Milley saying that the counteroffensive is not a failure, which is already going quite far, isn't it? It's not a failure in my view. I think it's way too early to say that kind of thing. I think there's a lot of fighting left to do, and I'll stay with what we said before. This is going to be a long and hard, bloody battle.
Let's give war a chance. For God's sake, let's really give this war a chance. Also, the whole thing was proposed as aid.
Yes.
So there's not even a war anyway. So this war that's not happening anyway, and certainly not a proxy war, they're now disappointed with the results of it. If it was like famine aid, you wouldn't go, oh, we're not giving them any more famine aid. They're still bloody hungry. Look at them. We've sent over all of this flour, and they're still skinny as rakes. It's meant to not be a proxy war. Yep. So you should have no skin in the game. You should be like, we've given you the aid.
Look how that's happened, hasn't it? It's crept in, like week by week by week. This is how it gets to it. The start is, this is not our war. It's not American troops. We're just providing aid, exactly as you say. And then the creep comes to the point where you've got the government saying, we're angry about how slow this is and how badly that you're doing, and that this is going to be a long, hard battle.
Starting to look like a proxy war. No wonder they require absolute control over media institutions, and in particular, social media. You know, that federal judge passed a law saying that your free speech had been impeached by Biden administration actions, that true information had been censored, in particular during the pandemic period. And the federal judge said it had to stop, that the Biden administration could only interact with social media platforms if it were matters of criminality or national security, basically what the conditions ought always be. Well, that has been overturned. The Biden administration will be allowed to continue to collude with social media, continue to demand they censor, even as new legislation is being passed to permit in your country, the United States, in Canada, in Australia, in New Zealand, in our country, the UK, and across the EU. Of course, they have to amplify their message, but there is a requirement for censorship, because without censorship, we will openly communicate. And of course, there are bigoted people in the world. There are people saying hateful things. I'm whispering, but there are. But the biggest threat is our open communication, not our bigotry, not our potential hatred towards one another, but the fact that we can collude, cooperate, present new alternatives. Let me know in the chat right now. Press the red button, join us on Locals, and let me know what you think about this. The Biden administration overturned a rule. What's the point in having a ruling if they can instantly overturn it?
It's not overturned. So they went to the Court of Appeals, the Fifth
Usually
Court of Appeals, and it's been temporarily suspended.
I just don't like wasting paper unnecessarily. I mean, we waste
enough. They're going to continue right now to do what they were doing, what they were told immediately to stop doing. So once again, there's a legislative quagmire that's going to be fired up, that's anti-democratic, anti-judicial, which reveals precisely what we continually tell us and what we continually tell you and what you continually tell us. That these institutions are failing, that they're not fit for purpose. Remember, we're going to leave you in a second. We'll be exclusively on Rumble to talk about Tucker's admission, acknowledgement that he has taken no shots. Oh, you're surprised by that? Let me know in the chat how many shots you had. Let me know in the chat what you think about that. Is he allowed to do that? Is that even possible? Obviously, we can't talk about that openly on YouTube, because where do YouTube get their community guidelines? From the WHO. Where does the WHO get its funding? What's its biggest funder? So some of the funding of the WHO comes directly from you, of course. Remember when you voted for that? Of course you didn't. But significantly, the funding of the WHO comes from, well, let me know in the comments. Jill Bates, exactly. Jay Gwynn Wild. That's right. We're going to send you a T-shirt saying, you are free, sweetly free. Should we have a look at Donald Trump's reaction to the January 6th there? The number one thing that bothers Trump about potentially being arrested over the events related to January the 6th is that he received the letter on a Sunday. Let's have a look at him on Fox News.
And you released on Truth Social earlier today that that you are a target of this January 6th grand jury. My first question to you is, it doesn't seem to bother you like I think it would bother so many other people. What is it about you that it doesn't?
No, it bothers me. It bothers me for everybody in this incredible sold-out audience, and
He's brilliant. He's like a WWF president. He's like a wrestling president. He's pitching. It's P.T. Barnum. It's extraordinary, actually, telling you while it's happening that it's a sold-out audience.
Yeah, it's so skillful the way he does it. But the issue with Trump is that, is it just that? Is it all just rhetoric? And maybe that's enough, but maybe it's not. You know, the position on lethal aid to Ukraine is exactly that there is an issue there. When his strategy goes from it's about diplomacy and peace talks to just send Ukraine loads of weaponry, because Trump sent loads of weapons to Ukraine in the first place. He sent like $47 million of weapons in the first place. So you've got to have something to also back that up. It can't just be the rhetoric, which I admit is very funny and skillful.
He's also saying that he would end that war in 24 hours, and maybe these are just rhetorical tricks, that he perhaps wouldn't send any more weapons after all. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. We'll be talking to Jack Cornfield in a minute. Jack Cornfield is a world teacher, a fantastic spiritual teacher, about the morality behind these kinds of positions. And where are we? Where do we stand now? Where Noam Chomsky and Donald Trump have the same political perspective, where Cornel West and Tucker Carlson have the same political perspective, where it's taking increasingly peripheral figures to point out that there should be an alternative to ongoing war, that the establishment, whether it's Mike Pence or Joe Biden, are advocating for forever wars, that it takes now people from outside the establishment. And do you even agree with that analysis?
Yeah, because we don't do. I mean, we do a lot of paperwork still, but
I got the letter
if
on
it was
Sunday
just
night,
us,
think of it.
everything would
I
be
don't
on
think
the
they've ever
computer.
sent
But
a letter
everything
on
we do on
Sunday night.
paper is for them.
And they're in a rush because they want
They want a
interference with the election. It's election
We can't let them
interference. Never been
into
done
our
like this in the history
personnel
of our
softwares.
country, and it's a disgrace. What's happening to our country, whether it's the borders or the elections or kinds of things like this, where the DOJ has become a weapon for the Democrats.
The DOJ is a weapon for the Democrats. Difficult to query that analysis when there is the temporary suspension of verdicts that had been reached by legitimate judicial figures, allowing the Biden administration to continue to censor. Astonishing. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, click the link on your description. We're heading over to Rumble to talk about. Did you see this? Did you see Tucker talking about he's zero jabs? What I like about that chat most of all, see you later, YouTube. Click the link. Join us over there. Join us over there. And if you're watching us on Rumble, click the red button right now and join us in the chat. What I like about this is in his chat with who I can only assume is a delightful old gentleman. In the chat, he sort of says, how many jabs did you have? And that's like, well, how many jabs did you have? Which shows like that's real playground negotiation tactics. Let's have a little look at this clip. And once more, it's another example of how
after today you'll use it to check your pay stubs
to handle the national and indeed international conversation a lot more deftly than supposed political figures. Remember when we showed
no, not really.
Mike
The way
Pence
it works
talking
is
about how
the
he
work week
doubled
starts
down on the militarization of Ukraine, continue to perpetuate this war mentality. It was Tucker.
So you get paid the
hang on a
Friday.
minute. Have you not looked around American cities at the moment? Yeah, a lot of people saying Tucker for president or Davros 200.
The first Friday,
But I get a general impression of what your appetite is for now.
We can't predict what you're going to work, so yeah, we pay you the immediate Friday at the end of the work.
Not the
Not really in the whole
between establishment entities. Would you agree with that?
No,
analysis,
right now it's
Let's
Monday
have a
through
look at
Friday.
Tucker Carlson's stance on the jabs there.
After your first week, they'll decide which day of
over
the
the
week.
past several years is the right to decide what medicine you take in the form of COVID
Kind of
mandates.
let you work, and then they want to make sure that you're going to show up every day, and then once they know that, then they throw you on the scale.
How many COVID shots did you take? 0.
Oh, Tucker going in hard with a 0. Now, what I know from when Tucker Carlson joined us on this show is he is able to align his easy, convivial manner, fluidity, and eloquence.
About one 2 years ago, and it's already got 76,000 miles.
He feels like when you're speaking with him, like whether it's like on
Because
camera or
I drive at least
you feel like
100
you're dealing
miles
with a
a day.
connected person
I live
who
in
you may
Ohio.
not agree with on everything.
I'm from
you
Michigan,
can
but I live in
speak
Ohio
with
now.
in good faith. That's why I'm sort of astonished by like people that say that
It's a lot of miles on
like
that poor
a
thing.
white supremacist and that kind of thing,
But he
and
gets good gas.
because it just doesn't hold up in person, and particularly something
Got a
like this.
little
Now,
I got a little
is this the first
trailblazer
public
there.
figure you've seen say 0 shots?
Okay.
Maybe so. I also think he's in that amazing position.
She's got one out
Obviously,
there, too.
he's a highly
Hers is new, too,
broadcaster,
but
but now that he's left
somebody
Fox
around
and has no
the
ties to the mainstream at all, and or getting kind of told what he can and can't say,
Who's
he's
hitting
able
around
to
too?
point out. He's in this incredible position of basically just pointing out hypocrisy. And so when he's asked by
gotta
Asa
go to her own-
Hutchinson,
she's
like,
fighting
how
her
many did
own
you
insurance
take? He can
company.
say, I didn't take any shots, because he knows from the Republican position
Too bad.
and all these Republican candidates that he's interviewed is that they live in hypocrisy, whether that's the war or COVID. Again, coming back to
Usually
Trump,
that means that person
I don't
already
think there's
has
another
warrants
figure
for
in
whatever,
politics who
or-
could weather the storm of the lockdowns that Trump imposed, the way in which he took great pride in those, in the vaccines. I don't think anyone else could kind of still come through that with the fan base that he's got, when there's so many things that you could say his party did at that time and their position on war that just feels very hypocritical.
Certainly, he's granted incredible grace by the surrounding environment of ongoing hypocrisy.
Okay,
A
the
lot of people
username
in the
is,
chat
Jamie
asking,
K.
did that
76.
politician ever
I'm gonna
answer the
reset the
question? Do you
password.
feel increasingly
It's going to ask you to change
that
it to
we're
whatever you
approaching
want.
a point where you
log
don't
in
want to
with
be
it.
governed people that even look like that? A kind of sort of drabness, the hollowed out, pallid complexion of these cookie cutter.
Well, the password is Yeah,
political
the
figures who
username,
from
I'll leave
either
it
side
because
of
I'm
the
sure that's
aisle
something you
parrot
use.
the same talking points, support the same ideas, went to the
Normally,
same
if we ever
schools,
reset
are
it, we just
funded in the
change it to
same
your
way.
first name,
Isn't there a
last name,
kind
but
of appetite now
easy.
for raw
All right, so I'm gonna have you
rhetoric?
have a seat at that
Let's have a
computer
look as
there.
well, just based on that issue. Tucker's vaccine
Actually, I'll just
revelation,
get
we asked
started
you,
for
does
you.
it make you like him more, less, or just the
Oops,
same?
you don't wanna do
65% liked him more, 33% of you already liked him, less
All right.
2%, 98% of you
So it's
found
plug
this,
in.
made you warm to Tucker a little more. Let's have a look at the rest of that clip.
But I think it's fair, and I can see that you.
Indeed, look at the zero. Does it like they're still applauding him saying zero? That's the reaction.
When I asked you that question,
Take that to mean like this is everybody supporting let's not get vaccines. That's everyone supporting authenticity, open discourse, clear communication, because we live in a time of obfuscation.
Yeah, you just have to
and
make it.
deception.
It has
You
to
see all these
be
stories
now.
about Joe Biden.
The
People saying, "Oh, Joe
type of
Biden,
password needs
he's
to be in that type
foul-mouthed
of
and filthy-tempered
uppercase,
in public. He's being abusive to his staff while making declarations in public that anyone that's rude in his team will be out on their ear immediately." You don't even know.
It'll
for
turn
sure
green
whether or
once
not
it's
this is
an
a
acceptable
tactic to make
password.
Joe
You'll see
Biden
it.
seem more dynamic. We live almost entirely in a spectacle. Integrity and authenticity
You don't want to really
are
use cap
becoming the
lock. Just
currency
use
of our
shift.
time. I'd say I'd rather deal with people that I disagree with but trust that they're telling the truth than people that parrot the points of the contemporary ideology and will parrot other points when they come into fashion.
and I don't think, honestly, you should be asking people about their medical care, but that became a matter of public policy. And I do think that the whole country ought to pause and assess, like, what did we just go through? How do we feel about it now? And so it's a very straightforward question.
Authenticity and integrity fundamentally are spiritual matters. We're living, I believe, in a kind of spiritual vacuum. We're living in a time where trust in all of our institutions is waning. People don't trust the government anymore. People don't trust the mainstream media. Faith even in God in parts of the country. Remember, we talked to you at length about sort of 50% of Americans no longer identify as Christians. This is a time of crisis. I think what people crave more than anything is integrity.
You forget your
We've got
password.
some fantastic content coming up for you over the course of the week, but it's time now for me to interview my guest. Yeah, I would love to interview my guest now because look at the time. This is Jack Cornfield, who is a Buddhist monk, a best-selling author, a world-renowned spiritual teacher. Jack, thank you so much for joining me on Stay Free with Russell Brand.
Thank you, Russell.
I wanted to start by talking about some of the subjects we've already discussed in this episode. Donald Trump is almost the very definition of a divisive figure. In some areas, this man is regarded as the embodiment of anti-establishment force. He's, for many of our viewers, the only opportunity we're going to have to stand up against hypocrisy and corruption within the establishment. Notable that he is one of the few voices within the mainstream that is advocating for peace at this time. Yep. How do you, from the perspective of a spiritualist man who's dedicated to spirituality, ethically deal with the subject of Donald Trump and what he represents? How do you deal with the subject of militarism and forever wars? What do you feel it tells us when you have figures like Donald Trump and Noam Chomsky saying the same things about war, Cornel West and RFK saying the same thing about war, and yet the establishment still advocating for ongoing war as if it's a duty, a responsibility, and the only moral thing to do?
So, Russell, you've got the establishment on one side, and you've got the anti-establishment on the other side. Let me say two things to start with. First, no amount of technology, of nanotechnology, AI, biotechnology, war technology, is going to stop continuing.
All right, so what you're looking at there is the employee portal, okay? You can access this from your phone or anything, right? This is in the future.
We can get better weapons, we can elect other people, but if people are still divisive in their heart and not connected in any way, you don't have a society that represents and fosters care, then we get what you talked about. You talked about it on the playground. When kids are, hitting each other with rocks,
and to sign it,
you say
just check
use
the
your
box.
words. You actually teach people that there's another.
And I have your handbook right here for you. So.
And we have a society that's tremendously divisive, and it's not going to be changed unless also people change inside, which is what I've learned as a Buddhist monk, that in fact, if you want the world to be more peaceful, you also have to step out of stop the war inside yourself. Otherwise, you can have establishment and anti-establishment, and it just carries on.
Yes, it seems increasingly plain to me that the prima materia of our reality is consciousness itself, and the external world an expression of some ulterior force that is privately accessible to all of us through the subjective experience. And perhaps in this spectacular age, and I use that word most literally, Jack, this thirst and hunger for integrity and authenticity comes from our shared realization that what we're being presented, whether it's from a Republican perspective or a Democrat perspective, or from within the mainstream media, or by our judiciary, or from within the corporatist, globalist world and its evident influence within media spaces, is a lack of integrity and authenticity. That's why I figure, like Tucker Carlson, I believe, who came on our show and was absolutely fantastic, and he and I had a sort of a real connection and have a real connection. I would say that whilst there are areas of, you know, policy and social matters where he and I would disagree, what I accept is that he's a person who comes from a place of integrity and authenticity. What do you think of this modern currency of integrity and authenticity? And do you feel that it's something that's lacking in public discourse, and in particular in political discourse?
Of course, there's something lacking, partly because we live in an addictive society in which the best contribution you can make, you know, is to continue to consume. And the best person in the society is neither dead nor alive, but more like a zombie, and doesn't want to stand up and say, this is what matters to me, whether it's eating carcinogenic food or polluting the environment and so forth. So we're missing that because we're being trained in some way, almost as if the society itself is an addict. And then secondly, when I was living in the monastery during the time, one of the times of war in Southeast Asia, and there was a firefight near the monastery, and the monastery was a zone of peace. In the morning, I went out with an old monk, and there were some helicopters dropping canister bombs where the so-called terrorists were living. And, you know, the firefight was close enough, you could see the flashes at night. And I said, oh, the military is bombing those terrorists, you know, that we saw fighting last night. And the monk said, oh, they don't live there. They're in caves down that way, further down the ridge. I said, well, why are they bombing there? And he said, well, if they killed them all, then no one would continue to give them all these nice helicopters and weapons. And you could feel
what year? 76. Hang on.
Was also this huge economic engine.
It's easier just to type it.
U.S. is a warlike nation, and there's this tremendous emphasis.
It's got the dashes already there for you for the.
We have to teach our children to look honestly and say, all right, what are the values you want to live? If you want integrity, do you want to live with continuing warfare, or is there an alternative to it? Do you want to live with continuing consumer addiction, or is there some way you can find a connection to each other that's caring and in yourself? And that's the kind of thing that's needed in the society as much as anything.
There is a requirement for that, but we live also during a time of near approaching immersive censorship. It seems to me that there are genuine globalist forces that are trying to slowly, softly, and maybe not so slowly or softly, introduce social credit score systems, introduce control of digital currency through digital currency, maintain control through censorship, a time absolutely lacking in integrity and authenticity. Whilst I recognize that an inner personal revolution is the most important thing that any of us can do, and it's very empowering to hear that when people, because some of the subjects we talk about on the show, I think people feel like, what am I supposed to do about NATO and the WHO and the WEF and the military-industrial complex and these centralized media institutions that lie? The funding of both political parties comes from the same sources. How can I change that? But what is deeply empowering is the fact that all of us,
you have to put NA under the other
within
names,
us, do have access to a deep force,
number.
can
For some
cultivate a
reason, those
different
blanks have to
mentality,
be filled.
do have access to a power that actually is the only thing that can meaningfully alter reality. Nevertheless, Jack, there
Slash should be down by the
I would
question
say,
mark.
accumulating forces
Bottom
of
row there to the
opposition,
right.
not least through technology. And I understand that you've been communicating a lot with Sam
Nope, you
Altman
don't wanna
about
shift
the
when you're doing it.
potential destructive power of AI, which of course could be utilized like
Backspace.
any tool for good. But I suppose the fear at the moment is that AI could wreak economic havoc, could annihilate a lot of jobs, could be used to impose further control, could be used to divide people further. What are some of the topics and subjects you're discussing with Sam Altman, and what is coming out of those conversations?
NA under apartment number as well.
I'll answer that briefly, and then I would throw a question your way. The question, and the leaders of AI don't know how to do it, is how do you build in honesty, integrity, and ethical values within computer
Let me see for you.
systems and with artificial intelligence? And I think it all needs to be slowed down, which is what Sam also agreed to in some way. Until that can be established, I had a conversation with Charlie Oppenheimer, who's the
There you go.
grandson
You want to read those
of
rules?
J. Oppenheimer.
Check
There's
the
a
box
film
to
that's
sign
just
it.
coming out.
Hey,
And
Jesse.
in 1945, Oppenheimer suggested that there be an international group that hold the nuclear explosive power of the bomb rather than any particular country. And there was a 2-year period when the U.S. was the only holder of nuclear power. And then we said, no,
Oh, you
we're
saw
gonna,
that,
we're going to run the
from
world
that.
with our nuclear power. And the nuclear arms race started. The same thing is happening with AI right now. And it's possible to pause and say, let's collaborate and do this together rather than make a AI, artificial intelligence, global war of whose AI is more
You will get a
powerful
written
than
copy
whose.
of all those as well.
The question for us is, do we continue down the path of conflict with one another? Or what are you helping? You know, you pointed out, Russell, you point out how things are messed up and the establishment, this and that. What's the solution? It's not just individualism, is it? I mean, we need. So how do you create a wise society that's not just individualistic and where people are responsible and ethical, caring for the community as a whole?
I feel that individualism has perhaps reached its apex, and perhaps in the reification of identity that is enshrined in identity politics, which for me holds many truths, we ought be free to become who we truly are, and nobody should impede the self-expression of individuals. Our freedom is the most, perhaps one of the greatest principles around which we can organize our lives. But there is more to my personal reality than what I want and what I don't want. And as an addict, I've fallen into the trap of treating my own preferences and aversions like a kind of inner dogma imposed by instinct, impulse, and cultural conditioning. What I suggest is that our systems and institutions need a radical reevaluation of their ethics, but it seems to be to me that our media and our systems of governance promote the ugliest aspects of our nature. They promote desire. They sustain fear, powerful forces that are very, very difficult to overcome and impossible to overcome without a spiritual experience, simply the realization that the inner life is the real world and the outer phenomena is on some level a deep expression of this inward experience. It takes a great deal of discipline and surrender to access this point. The only way for us to proceed at this time, I believe, is to acknowledge what is truly happening. Decentralization and devolution are making themselves felt through the technological advances of the last few years. It is no longer necessary to have centralized institutions of finance, capital, and power. We have real fascism now. If you take Mussolini's definition that fascism is the reconstituting of private power and state power into one oppressive fist. We stand on the brink, I believe, not of an Orwellian dystopia, but of a Huxleyan dystopia. We're high on soma, we lay as passive blobs in our cells. Our energy harnessed, our consciousness directed towards the lower and basest aspects, or most base aspects of our nature. An individual awakening is not a luxury, it is a necessity. When people ask, what can I do? What I respond is the thing you can do is the most important thing available, personally awaken. But concomitant with this is the necessity to break down and attack these institutions of corruption, to replace centralized power wherever possible with localized power, democratic power. There is a fusion to be had between the apparently opposing ideas of libertarianism, which is generally associated with the right, anarchism, which is usually seen as being to the left of the leftist most politics, recognizing that when we have individual freedom meshed with community duty, we have the possibility to build new societies. But that is not going to be possible without a significant spiritual awakening at the level of the individual. I believe that there will be a point.
Veteran Foods. I rent space here. I work for a pet company. We staff for Veteran Foods. This building here is just the mix.
That's what we're trying to convey on this show,
where they're mixing the ingredients together and they ship it over to the main facility over in Telegraph.
Join us. Press the red button. Join us over on Locals and speak and at Team Stay Free so that I find your questions in there. And guys out there, bring the questions for Jack.
More modern facility. It's basically different dry products. We don't do any baking or
and
preparation.
I want to say to
just
people
getting it ready for
that we can
and that's
always
what
start
the job
again.
basically is,
That we
making
can
sure the
always
different
begin. And
packaging
it's
lines
one
are
of the
running
great
properly.
spiritual truths. If you listen to Lehman Gabori,
They require that you have
Peace Prize in
steel or
Liberia,
composite
where she
tools,
said
shoes or
Liberia
boots.
used to be known for its child soldiers, and now it's known for its women leaders.
Actually, any of the
revolution
veterans.
is that
As long as they're
combination
safe.
of inner revolution to
It's a lot
realize
of
that you can
forklifts
step
right
out of your own fears. You can step out of your own addiction.
Oh no, if you ever get over by forklift,
One of the
you
reasons
definitely
people
know
cling
it.
to their hate and ignorance
Whether
so
you got steel
stubbornly
toes on or
is
not.
because they sense that once hate is gone,
yeah,
they will
so
be forced to deal with their own
that's
pain and
part of the
fear.
uniform is really
And if we
simple.
can
The pants are
honor
just like
that
jeans
we're
or
human,
like dicky
and
type
we can
of
actually
pants.
stand up to that.
And then just a plain
Look
white
in our
t-shirt.
own hearts and say, yes, we have our measure of pain. Yes, we have our fear. And there's something bigger
The
that
jeans,
we can be
no.
a part of, which includes
Or
then
pants, no.
not only the inner freedom,
Some people wear
but the
khaki
sense
colors,
of
some people
connection
wear
with
blue
others,
jeans.
not based on
Just realize you are going to be working in an environment where
on
there's a lot of
mutual
white
care.
powder.
That's beautiful, that James
a lot
Baldwin
of the
quote.
mixes
Let's
and
find
stuff
that.
like
Let's
that are
post
white,
that when we are
That's
sharing
why
this
they prefer
conversation.
you wear a
Jack, we've
white
got some
t-shirt, because
lovely
anything
questions
else
for you. Let me
will
just
definitely show it.
find them, Jack. Loads of
By the end of the day,
questions
anyway.
flooding in. Just then,
And
excuse
basically
me.
that's it. There are two shifts.
they're
First shift
sometimes
goes from
difficult to
5
locate, so
a.m.
you
to
guys could write
3:30
them down for
p.m.
me in there if you don't
Second
mind,
shift
because
goes from
it's
3:30
easier
p.m.
for
to
me to
2
locate
a.m.
them. Here we go. Imagination.
10-hour
How do
shifts.
we reduce dependence
So
on
it's
the
4 days
state
a
and the
week,
system,
Monday
Jack?
through Friday.
That is
Which
one of
day
the
off you
questions
get
that's
is up
come
to
from.
you.
How do we reduce this
That's
dependence? People
one
are
of
asking
my
for. And
questions. How
girl
do they
says simply,
determine if
you
it's
look
Friday
like
or
my
Monday?
dad,
Depending on
Jack.
the
That's my
well,
girls,
so
after
you
all.
might even be in
And
the
how
middle
do
of
we
the week.
reduce dependence on the
Okay.
state and the system?
It just depends
Well, I
on the
look like
production
somebody's
schedule,
dad anyway.
where they need people on
You know,
certain days.
that's
She
part of
usually
the
does the
question of
schedules on
empowerment and
Thursdays.
trust. That if we actually
for the
start
next
to build
week. So
within
you'll
our
know-
communities
you'll
that
know
there's
by
something
Thursday
about
what you're
both
working.
the global system that we have to pay attention to
So
and
the
step out of in some way,
work
but we
weeks,
also
is
need to
it a
rebuild
Sunday?
at the
Monday
simplest
through Sunday.
level.
Monday
How do
through
I
Sunday.
live
So if you were to
in
start
the
this week,
environment I'm in,
work week
with the
always starts
neighbors
on
that I
Monday,
care about?
Okay.
and it
One of
ends
the
on
best
Sunday.
things of
And then we
what
pay you the
happened in
immediate
pandemic
Friday after.
is that people at the beginning started to
So
care
every
about
week
each
we
other
pay.
for a time.
We pay every week.
And there was a kind of
Okay.
cheering for that.
And
People,
you said she
you know,
does
on the
the schedule
balconies
on
in Italy
Thursday
singing
for
to one another in the
next
evening, and you realize
for
So
part of
so
the
yeah,
problem
so
is that
tomorrow
deep
she'll
sense
do
of
the schedule
community,
for
and
next week.
we've been swayed by the
Gotcha.
media.
Okay.
we've
You
been
being new,
swayed
if you
by
were to
the
start this week,
consumerism of the
there's like a
society, saying,
limbo whether
this is going to make you happy,
until the next
and
week.
it doesn't.
Depends.
Go
She
for
basically
a
wants to
walk
make sure
in
you're going to
nature.
actually show up every
Go
day
spend some
before
time with the trees and the
So,
wood and the community of nature that you're a part
Curious
of.
pretty good
Connect
about
with those
So
around
is
you.
it-
Quiet your own mind and
like
tend your heart, and then stand up.
physical
And we
wise?
get overwhelmed.
Standing
Here's what
more
you can
than
trust. You
physical.
can't fix
They
the
ask you if
system
you can
as an
live up to
individual.
50
That would be
pounds. That's
hubris.
mainly if, I
But
mean,
you
once in
can
a
make
while
a
they
difference. You can
need
reach
people
out
over here.
and mend and
Those are
connect
like
and
big-
start to
big
build a
50-pound
web of
sacks.
connection
Over there, it's
from
just basically
goodwill
things you
in
pick
your
off the shelf.
community with others,
So
and
it's
that's
about-
partly the real revolution of changing how we live with each
Not
other.
labor
That's a
intensive. It's,
beautiful answer, and
you
it's
know, it's a little
reassuring
bit,
for me
it's
because I have
monotonous
a
because
lot of
it's like
conversations. I know you
production,
do, Jack. I know
right?
that you
So
have
you'll be on your
communicate
feet. I mean, you
openly,
will
that
get
you
breaks, of course.
have an
It's
ongoing
just a
communication, and you're
15-minute
continually
break, and then
teaching and
there's like a 45-minute
involved in
one.
discourse with
Where
other
what they're
great
basically doing
things.
with the
And like,
second one
very
is
recently, I knew
combining
you
your
have the
lunch with the breaks. So you
survivalist
get
and
extra
leader of the
rest.
global scout movement and former
More
SAS
near the end
soldier,
of the shift.
Bear Grylls on here, and he's saying almost
Yeah.
the same things as you. He's not
Basically,
quoting James Baldwin, but he's saying
their
get out in
goal
nature,
is for you to
experience
get hired
nature,
in.
find
They
connections in
want
community. People,
they just
we have
basically
a
use me
saying
for
in
the
the
hiring
12-step
process.
community: look for the
And then,
similarities, not
once
for the
you hit
differences. I
500
think that
hours,
what our
you're
culture
eligible to be
continually
hired
invites
in.
us to do is
That's
to
up to them.
focus
I
on
mean,
the
it'll
differences
depend
and
on
not
your
the similarities.
your
The question now
production
from our
and your
community here
mainly
in Locals, and if you want to join us on Locals, press the red button at the bottom of your screen now.
But yeah, work
No
performance comes into
Jaganoki
play as
asks,
well.
Jack,
And
how
I
do you
mean,
keep in touch with our beloved
most
Ramdas
of the
after
folks
his
when they get
passing,
500,
and what
they'll
in
offer it
Ramdas's
to
teaching could
if they
help
don't,
us now?
usually
So Ramdas
you'll
was
know
was a good friend, and the thing is, we keep in touch with
it's
each other
it's
when
rare
we're
that
out
happens, and
after that.
I've never
So
seen
can
anybody.
get
I mean,
quiet
obviously
meditation,
the pay
and
will
maybe
go
it's
up
just
too.
imagination. I'm not
they
going to
issue
try to sell you
uniforms
some
and everything.
philosophy, but I can hear
The only time I've
Ramdas's
ever
voice
seen anybody
saying,
turned
"Yeah,
down
you're
being
upset
hired
about
in
that,
was
but who
because
we
the
are
guy
underneath
was
all
more
that is
worried about
bigger."
getting
And
paid
you know
every
that,
week
and I
than
do too, Russell. That
an
it's really the
increase,
play of
which
consciousness and the state of
quite
the heart.
understanding.
And when we tune in,
I mean,
and
it's
ask ourselves,
because once you get hired in, it's every
what's
2
your
weeks.
highest intention? What's your
It
best
starts at
intention?
14 an
That
hour.
begins
Now
to
they do
guide
have
your activity.
a
But
dollar
it has
differential
to
for
be
second,
courageous
and they
and
also the
fearless.
big thing
I
is
was
right
working at
now
a retreat with some
they
other
started
great
up
teachers
tennis bonus as well.
for young
Every
men
week,
coming out of
as long as you
street
aren't late,
gangs
you
in
make
Los
it every day
Angeles
that
and
you're
Oakland and
scheduled.
Chicago. And
it's
I was
actually
working
$1
with
an
a
hour.
great
So
Latino
is that
poet
something
and
that can go
a
away soon?
mythologist, and they're sitting there with their hoods
Well,
on,
I
and
mean,
their
not
hats on
soon. I
backwards,
hope
saying
not,
like, "Yeah,
because they
man,
just
you're going to
started
give me a
it.
poem, you're going to teach meditation. I'm
The
on
last
the
time they
street
did
for
it
9 years. You got to
was
give me something better than that."
we were doing pay.
And so we said,
gift
listen,
cards.
first take a few few breaths, and before we can start, we lit a candle and put it on the
Basically,
table.
it's they were doing it every week, but it was like
bring in a
attendance. I met you there.
for every young
next
person you
week and
know
gave
who's
you a
been killed
burger.
or died, drug overdose,
But it was only 20 hours.
gang conflicts.
So
These kids came in
working
with
40
their
hours,
hands full of
$1 an extra
stones.
hour is
No
40.
young person should know that many dead people. And they put it next to the candle and say, this is for RJ, this is for Tito, this is for homegirl.
They're hiring for
And the pile grew, and when they sat back down, the hoods came off and the hats came off. And it's like, okay, we're going to get real here. We're actually going to talk about what we're living and not just in this cycle of violence. What do we care about? And you could feel when they saw that circle of stones that they actually cared about each other. And
It's
began
not
an entirely
extremely
different
difficult.
conversation.
You
But
coordinate
it
that.
means
You just got to get
courage that's
approval
not just
from
the outer
the
courage,
supervisors of
but
each
it's
shift.
really the courage of heart to be able to see the
It
suffering that you talk about and to say, I will not contribute.
I've seen
to
it
that
be easy. They're
divisiveness.
like, fine,
I'm
if you
gonna
want to start
listen in a
back.
different way and
They won't
stand
let
up
you do
for
it
what really
midweek.
matters and connect not
Just
only
because
inner
of the
freedom,
pay, it
but
causes
that
too many issues.
community around me in a different way, a heartful way.
I've never
maybe
seen him
Ramdas
say
is
no,
speaking through me in
except
that
for
regard.
when
It's an astonishing
the other shift
paradox
happens to
that
be
the
full.
seemingly
I don't see that happening
insignificant
anytime
gesture
soon because
of
they're in full
personal
bore.
awakening
They're as
can
busy now
have
as
such
I've
a
ever
profound
seen.
effect. But
So
under investigation, if we
they had a
acknowledge that
slowdown last
individual
winter
change
because they
collectively undertaken
not
means that
getting
reality is
enough of the
entirely
potato products.
altered. That's a
A
very
lot of
beautiful
products they do
anecdote.
have
And
potato
I'd like to add to it this question from Judy
and their
Denmark. How our individual awakening will not affect Biden,
issue
Putin,
came
or those
up.
who hold the nuclear codes. How do we
That
get over
ended.
Already,
that
Jack
ended.
has offered us this.
Yeah,
Our
yeah,
individual
yeah.
awakening
Based
is what
mainly
we
from
have
Canada.
to offer.
They get a
It
lot
will
of the products
change
from Canada.
reality.
And,
In a sense, I think we trap ourselves in a sort of cycle of
they fixed
impotence
that.
by
They've-
refusing
they've
to
already
acknowledge and
set up a
embrace our
backup
personal
just
power.
in case
How useful it
something happens
is
with
for us
this.
to say,
They've
oh,
never
well,
had
there's
an
nothing
issue
we
with their
can do.
supply before, so it
What
was-
if Malcolm X or Gandhi had taken such a position? And as Jack has already said in one of his previous answers, it would be hubristic to think that any individual can make
Usually
a
it's
difference. And even
an
some of the
attrition
most
type thing
great
too.
leaders might be
Like I said,
always
that was the only
acknowledge
time
that
I've
it
ever
is
seen them
as
say,
one
"Hey,
of
you know
many
what?
that we are powerful." Of
You don't
course,
have
this is
to,
the
spots for
perpetual
everybody."
dynamic that needs to be
But then
retained.
it
How
goes
can
by
a small establishment elite
attendance,
dominate an
production,
entire
stuff like
planet?
that as well.
Only by
It's gonna
creating
be-
fracture,
it's not
impotence, and
necessarily a
despair
seniority thing. It's
among
more
that population.
you're
So
useful,
thank you so
you're
much
not.
for joining us today.
And the belief that you can't make a difference. And actually, each person who's listening,
It's
this is what
merit.
you're trying to
It's
say
merit
right now,
based.
Russell.
So if you do a good
Each
job,
person who
you're going to
listens
see the benefits.
actually has the power
And I
to
see them
act
do that
from a kind of
folks all
inner
the
freedom and well-being and to contribute. And that's what will, in the end, it's going to be us together that will make the change. Thank
I
you.
do. I do hard for them.
Thank you so much
And
for demonstrating that power. Thank you for
they
carrying on the
had
messages
one on
of
second
great
shift that
teachers
they
and
just
friends
started.
of mine.
I'm
Thank you
gonna,
for
and while
inspiring
we're
us
going through the
today.
process,
You can follow
I'm gonna talk
Jack's
to
work
John,
by
the quality
going to
manager. He's actually in this building.
jackcornfield.com. If you're not a member of our locals community, press the
see
red
if he's
button
got,
and join it now. You get access to all manner
one
of
on day shift
beautiful
available
content,
too, 'cause
including
he
getting
was,
access
and
to
now
some of the
I think
interviews
he
that we
might have made
conduct
some adjustments
prior
and brought
to
somebody from
anyone
production.
else.
to
Now,
help with
over the
quality,
course
so
of this show, we've
we'll have to
talked a
see
lot
about
about how
that. And that
independent
starts at a bit of a
voices
higher rate,
are now
too.
emerging and exposing entrenched establishment corruption that is clearly bipartisan. We use Tucker's takedown of Mike
Right,
Pence
but
as a jumping off
So
point to
it's
discuss
and
exactly this phenomenon.
we've taken
You are
people
going
that
to
you know
love this presentation. Let me
seem
know
like
if
a
you're
good
enjoying
fit
it during the chat
and
and the
pushed them
comments.
in there.
Here's the news. No,
because we're
here's the
thought,
effing
you're
news.
sharp. You're picking up the all directions, basically. And that's usually about it. But I'll talk to John while we're going through the process.
Ukraine-Russia conflict, while NATO says expansion into Asia is inevitable. Who's going to fund all this expansion?
Yeah, we're not going to make you set a start date or anything like that.
Right, because
I've had a debate with every one of the Republican presidential candidates, but the one that's most interesting, perhaps,
when I'm going
agree
to
in the
be
comments,
available,
is the one
because I
with
don't
Mike
want to
Pence,
screw
where
over
Mike
my
Pence
friends.
advocates.
Oh, I get it, and I always appreciate that because I would
Of course,
expect
the
the
Ukrainian people should be
you know, and that's when people tell me, hey, you know what, it may be 2 weeks before I can start because I want to give notice to where I'm at.
Fantastic journalism from Chris Hedges, and
I'm very okay.
NATO
Yeah, because like I said, I would appreciate the same if you're.
So I don't have to pick a shift
Along the way, the Biden administration has been slow.
But I mean,
in
the
providing
process that we
military
need to do
support.
is for both shifts. So what we need to do today, we'll get that done. We'll do the little safety thing that we have to do. A little bit of paperwork. But then, of course,
Make no mistake
we'll
about
start
this.
it.
We promised them 33 Abrams tanks in January.
Yeah, if you have any other questions while we're going through
Ukraine,
that,
they
please
still
ask.
don't have them.
That's why I'm
We've been
here.
telling them we'll train over 16
All right.
pilots,
Have a
but now
seat
they're
at that
saying maybe
computer.
January we'll let somebody transfer some jets.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President, have you, I know you're running for president. You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years. Drive around, there's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks.
What business is it of the United States of America and the American people to continue and perpetuate this conflict? Of course, there is a duty of solidarity around the world between the world's people, but how do we see that practiced elsewhere? It isn't, is it? That's clearly not the motivation. Anyone in politics, anyone in finance who sits in a public forum and says this war is about the support of Ukrainian people, I believe is just lying. Tucker raises this significant point. Who in American politics, elected officials there to represent the American people, has the authority to take American tax dollars and funnel it primarily towards the weapons industry? The Pentagon.
In Monroe, right now, yes. I mean,
Ordered.
sometimes
Many of these
there's
weapons
times where I'm
can't be
at-
accurately tracked. Some of these weapons have ended up in the hands of Mexican drug cartels. This is a significant area of inquiry. To hear Mike Pence, a representative of the Republicans, who's supposed to be opposing the establishment, sing springing from the exact same history of the
But
Biden
veteran
administration
always
tells us
has
something
some-
significant
we've
about
got a good
American
relationship
politics.
with veterans.
Both
We've
sides,
got
when
that.
it comes to it, support the same mechanisms, support the same objectives and agenda. And astonishingly, ridiculously,
You know,
it
one of
isn't
those
the
things
support
where
and representation of the
trying
American people.
Yeah.
not what I thought
Seem
it
to
was
really
going to
care.
be.
Well, in the case of Mike Pence,
We won't ever hold that
realize
against you.
that is the tack that Tucker's going to take.
Well, they come up, and
Success.
once you're in our
Still
system,
reading
whenever
the
something like that does come up,
proof of the
and
United States of
'cause
America,
you'll see as you're going through,
recognizing
it'll
the
ask
majority of
about some of your
American people
skills
might
and stuff
think,
like
well,
that.
what are we doing here in America? We know
If something
there's
comes
wars
up that's a
all
good
over the
match
world.
for
We know
you,
there's atrocities all
and
over the
honestly,
world.
even if
Some
you're
of
already
them have
at
been
one assignment
perpetuated
and
using our
better
taxpayer
assignment
dollars
comes up,
historically and
it's our obligation to at least
So
let
why
you know
are we
it's a good.
suddenly all righteous about this conflict? Is there
I
another
feel it's my
agenda at
obligation.
play?
I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my
Everyone
concern.
try and do a little bit better. So
Well,
it's
mate,
and I
it should be.
understand
If you're
that.
running for the president of the United States of America, you're not running for the president of Ukraine. You're running for the presidency of the United States of America. That's not my concern. Isn't this?
Well, you
odd?
live right on the
I'm
Green
not
Mile.
actually a super pro-nationalist person either. I believe
You know why I call it that, right?
I believe hoodwinked and conned by patriotism.
Okay.
I think that service people have given their lives to
All
their
right.
nation. They've done a bold and brave thing, and their bravery.
That's what I call it.
and their
That's what I
bravery
call it
and
now.
courage
So
has been
over the last 3 years, I think they're going to turn that whole
military,
outlet mall into a
financial,
dispensary.
globalist objectives, and that has been going on for a lot longer in the United States of America. And my little old country is probably one of the great engineers.
Yeah, I don't even try. I don't even
At
try on
least if you're
420. I don't even
representing
try to
your
cut through
nation,
there.
you are
Come through there
representing
because
people's
it's
tax dollars or tax wealth you are accumulating. Can you see how delirious they are? They don't even have a connection to the obvious fact that it's their job to run the treasury of a particular nation in accordance with the will of the people of that nation.
Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern. I'm running for president of the United States because I think this country's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I think Tucker Carlson was saying that America is in a lot of trouble, and perhaps is in a lot of trouble because instead of representing the interests of American people, it's representing the interests of the military-industrial complex, big pharma, big tech, and that the political class has been long co-opted by corporate and financial interests that you can safely call global because they don't significantly or sufficiently pay taxes in the countries in which they operate. They frequently receive subsidies. I'm talking about big food and big.
I live in Ohio
from
too,
countries
and
in
the
which they
dispensaries
operate.
in
And
Ohio
the
are
guiding principle is not what is best for American people, all American people, but what can we do to extract public wealth and funnel it towards private interests? And the number one answer to that question seems to be war. And to further augment this globalist agenda and to create a
and since we're on the subject of cannabis, we consider it the same as alcohol.
Senators Dan
All right?
Sullivan,
Just like we wouldn't expect you to come into work after
Tammy
drinking. We
Duckworth,
don't want you
Democrat,
coming
Illinois,
after
agreed on
consuming
Sunday that
cannabis.
NATO expansion into Asia was
Yeah, no, we don't care about
democracy in
you know what you do at home,
It's
what you do
inevitable.
at
You
home.
fund
It's,
NATO,
to me,
but
that's
it's
probably
inevitable.
safer
You know,
than
like, well,
most
would you like that or
alcohol.
not? As the Western military alliance increasingly
But
has
of
its
course,
eyes on
you know,
China,
we-
that's good
we
news.
would test
China,
for
like
it
Russia,
if
are a
we
real
were-
pushover nation when it comes to wars. Historically, they haven't like beaten off Mongols and conquered Japan, and even now are amassing a mighty global army. I'm not sure that Chinese expansionism is a legitimate threat to the West. I don't know enough about it, but it seems that they're pretty regionalized in their thinking. Again, I don't know enough about it, but I listen to people like Jeffrey Sachs who do know a lot about this stuff. Expanding into their territory is the very kind of thing that might provoke them. And has anything like that happened recently? Oh yeah, the war room right now. Both senators made the comment on NBC's Meet the Press. Meet the Press, funded by Pfizer, I assume. When asked by host Chuck Todd if NATO expanding into Asia was inevitable, Sullivan replied, I think it is, and I think it was a positive summit. Well, that's the news, everyone. We're going to have another war against an indivisible nation.
sometimes.
Good night. No. Here's some analysis from Pulitzer Prize winning conspiracy theorist Chris Hedges.
It's just rare. I mean, there's not a whole lot of people. It doesn't really need. I mean, we have a mixing department, and most of those guys are in-house folks, and they've been working here a while. So
But in our culture,
we don't have to replace them as often. But some of the skilled positions, like quality and stuff like
the
that.
Russian invasion of Ukraine was a
sometimes they'll
war
have an
crime,
opening.
although one that was provoked by NATO expansion.
But a lot of times with
Already,
those
Chris Hedges is
quality
explaining
positions and
to
stuff
us
like
that
that,
two
they
things can be
sometimes
true
have to-
simultaneously. The invasion was a war crime. It's not like you have to go,
Yeah,
I love
litigation.
Russia, they should be able to do what they want. But it was provoked by NATO. Oh,
Where
that's
it
what
asks
happened.
about what
Now
is
I'm a bit
divided,
cleverer.
it
And
doesn't
by the
matter.
United States backing of the 2014 Maidan coup, which ousted the democratically elected Ukrainian president Viktor Yanukovych. Yanukovych wanted economic integration with the European Union, but not at the expense of economic and political ties with Russia. The war will only be solved through negotiations that allow ethnic Russians in
will
Ukraine
use
to
that
have
if we need to
autonomy
do
and
one.
Moscow's protection, as well as Ukrainian neutrality, which means the country cannot join NATO. The longer these negotiations are delayed, the more Ukrainians will suffer and die. Their cities and infrastructure will continue to be pounded into rubble. That shouldn't be a controversial statement. That seems to me to be an accurate diagnosis. Ukraine can't join NATO because Russia do have a voice in the world, and there are ethnic Russians Russians living in Ukraine and they want autonomy and an affinity with Moscow. If that can be achieved, what's the problem? I'm sure, as with all geopolitical issues and regional disputes with long, old, historic roots, there will be complexity. But we're not talking about how do we achieve perfection. We're talking about, is there something better than what's happening now? The deaths of thousands of Ukrainians daily, the squandering of American tax dollars, the increasing tension and destabilization of our planet. Could we improve on that? Maybe. But this proxy war in Ukraine is designed to serve US interests. That's already been publicly admitted by Mitch McConnell.
The most basic reasons for continuing to help Ukraine degrade and defeat the Russian invaders are cold, hard, practical American interests.
It enriches the weapons manufacturers, weakens the Russian military, and isolates Russia from Europe. What happens to Ukraine is irrelevant. That's the cold hard truth. Do you not imagine that conversations happen where they go, yeah, but what about those Ukrainians who are like, well, yeah, but for Ukrainian interests, then surely it's up to them. Ukrainians are a proud, patriotic people, and they have historic enmity with Russia. They will fight this war. This is the kind of statement that shows you how globalist, corporatist politics really works. This is an insight into the mindset of the people that make these decisions. First, equipping our friends on the front lines to defend themselves is a far cheaper way, in both American lives, to degrade Russia's ability to threaten the United States, admitted Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell. Second, Ukraine's effective defense of its territory is teaching us lessons about how to improve the defenses of partners who are threatened by China. It is no surprise that senior officials from Taiwan are so supportive of the efforts to help Ukraine defeat Russia. Third, most of the money that's been appropriated for Ukraine's security assistance doesn't actually go to Ukraine. It gets invested in American defense manufacturing. This is not investigative reporting from detractors of the war. This is the voice of the people that are perpetuating the war, explaining to you what they're doing. Remember the era when it was just flags on windows, the yellow and blue bit? That's gone now, hasn't it? You're not doing that anymore. Support Ukraine, because that was only necessary to get you over the hump. We're spending your tax dollars on this war. Why? What? Humanitarianism? Children. Once they've got you there, then you're just there now, aren't you? How many times have they done that? Once they establish the principle, it's like as if it's a pipeline. Once the pipeline's established, the fuel or the revenue or whatever's required for tax dollars will flow. Then it has to be disrupted. Could get the Navy SEALs to blow up the pipeline, I suppose. Not Navy SEAls, Ukrainians, Danish, Finnish, I don't know. Someone should blow up that pipeline, though. It funds new weapons and munitions for the US Armed Forces to replace the older material we're providing to Ukraine. Let me be clear. This assistance
we usually do it by appointment.
Workers and newer weapons for American servicemen.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We can set that up for you, though.
Okay, yeah.
Can you be back here tomorrow at 1?
Or American service members.
Have you worked here before? You look familiar.
Profits and dominion over
Your name?
What's the truth about these endless wars seeps into public consciousness?
All right, guys, come be here at 1 o'clock. Make sure you have your IDs and stuff with you. And yeah, that's all you need.
Beginning, when they popularise it, they cover it. And when people start to go, is this good that I'm paying for this? Wow, once we start waking up, hey, are they taking our money? They stop talking about it altogether. War? What war? Have you seen the Indiana Jones film? No. The military debacles, as in Iraq and Afghanistan, continue.
Yeah, if you get a temporary ID, that'll work.
Defeat, most barely remember that these wars are being fought. Chris Hedges is someone who's been through this many, many times. You can almost hear his weariness in explaining to you. Do you remember Afghanistan? No, what do you mean Afghanistan? Iraq? Do you remember Iraq? What? Iraq? Remember? Always. You remember the system. This is that. This is not another thing. You know what we used to do? We're not doing that now. We have actually become the thing we said we was that time. You know, it's a humanitarian conflict. We're helping people. Idiosyne, the son of Saddam Hussein is bad, or the Taliban, all that. This is just a new version of that. How many times do we have to go through the process of being told we're in a humanitarian war, realizing it's for profit, that the motivations for the war weren't actually there in the first place? It gets botched, it's horrible, it's a mess, everything's worse than before it. Then we do it again. How appealing are these stickers on windows? The pimps of war who orchestrate these military fiascos migrate from administration to administration. Between posts, they are ensconced in think tanks. Projects for the new American century, American Enterprise Institute, Foreign Policy Initiative, Institute for the Study of War, the Atlantic Council, and the Brookings Institute, funded by corporations and the war industry. Once the Ukraine war comes to its inevitable conclusion, these Dr. Strangeloves will seek to ignite a war with China. The US Navy and military are already menacing and encircling China. God help us if we don't stop them. Hopefully, God will help us now. But God has no hands but ours. It will ultimately require our opposition to these ongoing wars to prevent them. These pimps of war con us into one conflict after another with flattering narratives that paint us as the world's saviors. They don't even have to be innovative. The rhetoric is lifted from the old playbook. We naively swallow the bait and embrace the flag, this time blue and yellow, to become unwitting agents in our self-immolation. Since the end of the Second World War, the government has spent between 45 to 90% of the federal budget on past, current, and future military operations. It is the largest sustained activity of the US government. It's the main thing the US government does. Like, when Tucker asked that question, Like, shouldn't we do something about our cities and our collapsing social institutions? The answer is no, we shouldn't, because our business is war, then distracting you from that war by making you focus on the opposing other one of two teams that you could be supporting. Oh, it's because the Democrats are doing this in San Francisco. Oh, it's because the Republicans are doing that in Florida. No, it's because both are doing that in Russia and China and Afghanistan and Iraq, and the list goes on and on and on. It has stopped mattering, at least to the pimps of war. Chris Hedges is digging pimps of war, isn't he? I'm going to keep writing that. Whether these wars are rational or prudent. The war industry metastasizes within the bowels of the American empire to hollow it out from the inside. The US is reviled abroad, drowning in debt, has an impoverished working class, and is burdened with a decayed infrastructure as well as shoddy social services. So Chris Hedges there, who was until everything went crazy regarded as a liberal journalist and used to work for the New York Times, that's when he won his Pulitzer Prize, now believes the same thing as Tucker Carlson. The world has changed. Wasn't the Russian military, because of poor morale, poor generalship, outdated weapons, desertions, a lack of ammunition that supposedly forced soldiers to fight with shovels and severe supply shortages, supposed to collapse months ago? Wasn't Putin supposed to be driven from power? Weren't the sanctions supposed to plunge the ruble into a death spiral? Wasn't the severing of the Russian banking system from SWIFT, the international money transfer system, supposed to cripple the Russian economy? How is it the inflation rates in Europe and the United States are higher than in Russia, despite these attacks on the Russian economy? Wasn't the nearly $150 billion in sophisticated military hardware, financial and humanitarian assistance pledged by the US, EU, and 11 other countries supposed to have turned the tide of the war? How is it that perhaps a third of the tanks Germany and the US provided was swiftly turned by Russian mines, artillery, anti-tank weapons, airstrikes, and missiles into charred hunks of metal at the start of the vaunted counteroffensive? You never really hear about something like that, do you? You just hear about we're providing with. Look at Mike Pence, send them more tanks. They're just blowing them up, mate. What do you think they're going to do, these tanks? We're in Moscow now. It's all cool. It's not going to happen, is it? It's just more fodder for the machine. Mike Pence is a company man for the military-industrial complex, no? I guess he was drafted in for Trump to make Trump seem more like Trump's normal. Look, he's next to this career guy. But on his own, you can see him for what he is, just an advocate for the perpetuation of business as usual. Wasn't this latest Ukrainian counteroffensive, which was originally known as the Spring Offensive, supposed to punch through Russia's heavily fortified front lines and regain huge swathes of territory? Oh, they had to change the name of it. Guys, the problem with the Spring Offensive is it's winter now, and the offensive is still not working. Just call it the counteroffensive, or even better yet, the Christmas Offensive. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to fund war. Ukrainians are slain. Hey, how can we explain the tens of thousands of Ukrainian military casualties and the forced conscription by Ukraine's military? Even our retired generals and former CIA, FBI, NSA, and Homeland Security officials who serve as analysts on networks such as CNN and MSNBC can't say the offensive has succeeded. And what of the Ukrainian democracy we're fighting to protect? Why did the Ukrainian parliament revoke the official use of minority languages, including Russian, 3 days after the 2014 coup? Are we the baddies' hands? How do we rationalize the 8 years of warfare against ethnic Russians in the Donbass region before the Russian invasion in February 2022? That's why questions can't be asked anymore, isn't it? That's why we live in this regimen of global censorship, because the ability to ask questions prevents this kind of centralized corruption. Do you think the people that benefit from these wars are really censoring social media spaces because they don't want your feelings to be hurt? Do you think so? These people that perpetuate this kind of economic modality that requires death in order to function. Like, the problem is people are being rude about trans people. I don't mind wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, Ukraine, perpetual war, funding them, ineptitude in the Pentagon, death everywhere, journalists being slaughtered and murdered if it suits our ends. But one thing I will not stand is people that are neither male nor female being abused. That's where we draw the line. In fact, can we have a war on that?
Because it could end up in the product.
40,200 people and the 1.5 million people who were displaced before Russia's invasion took place last year. All these things have to be explained. All these things have to be explained. If you can't explain them, you can't have this war. Not under the auspices of
this would be, in any, for not just this position, but for anything we may place you.
Hello, Vladimir.
To ban 11 opposition parties.
One way.
How can we accept the banning of these opposition parties, many of which are on the left? Oh, that's not very liberal. While Zelensky allows fascists from the Sloboda and right sector parties, as well as the Banderai Azov battalion and other extremist militias to flourish. Yes, it doesn't make sense, does it? When you ask the questions, it doesn't make sense. So stop asking the questions. And soon...
Unfortunately, I was already working here when I moved farther away, so...
So there won't be any questions about that war against China to protect plucky Taiwan. I'm just sick of the way Taiwanese people are being treated, aren't you? In fact, would you like some of my money now to stop that war? Well, we don't have that war yet. We're still on the last one. I'll just give you the money in advance. How do we deal with the anti-Russian purges and the arrests of supposed fifth columnists sweeping through Ukraine, given that 30% of Ukraine's inhabitants are Russian speakers? How do we respond to the neo-Nazi groups supported by Zelensky's government that harass and attack the LGBT community, the Roma population, anti-fascist protests, and threaten city council members, media outlets, artists, and foreign students? Oh dear, it doesn't make sense, does it, if you ask questions? Well then, stop asking questions. How can we countenance the decision by the US and its Western allies to block negotiations with Russia to end the war, despite Kiev and Moscow apparently being on...
Well, the walking would be from one part of the line to the other. It wouldn't be a ton of that. A lot of it is basically you're monitoring the line to make sure
its
like,
promises not to expand NATO beyond
the
Germany's
boxes are
borders
freed
and Ukraine had
properly,
remained
the
neutral. The peace of war
papers,
knew the potential
taking
consequences of
boxes
NATO
properly,
expansion. War, however, is their
the
single-minded
product is actually
vocation,
coming
even if
out,
it leads to
getting into
nuclear holocaust with
the
Russia.
packages.
The war industry, not Putin, is our most dangerous enemy. So there you are. You've witnessed.
Now, the quality would be
conversation
different
between
because you're going to be
Tucker
bouncing
Carlson
from
and
line
Mike
to
Pence,
line,
Mike Pence
making sure
seems
things are being done
blind
right
and
at those
blithering,
lines.
almost
As far
a
as,
new Joe
you know,
Biden
when we
in
get
the
started
waiting,
in
one might
production,
argue,
that's
slightly more articulate for now. And Chris Hedges has explained to us the true motivations for this conflict and has listed
well, you can move around the line.
the
It's just
conclusion
basically
that the
it's,
motivation for this
a
conflict
lot of times, even if you're at the end, that's the
it
best
is
one
not
of the best parts.
humanitarian.
Like
It never was.
because you're
It
taking it
never
off
has
line
been,
and
and it
putting
never
it
will
on,
be. And
stacking
there
it on
will be more
pallets
wars, and there will be less questions, more unanswered questions due to the censorship bills.
And even
that are
if
being
like the line
Can
leaders,
you
they
not
you would
see
think
the
that their
building
job is
blocks
just to
of
stand there and make
globalist
sure everything is
tyranny
running
being
good.
heaved into
They're
space,
moving around
as
the
if
line
we are now a
constantly.
planet of
So it's-
Israelites building the pyramid of our own incarceration. We have but a few months to ask the pertinent questions. We have but a few months to overlook our cultural differences and form new ways of unifying together. To refuse
my wife
to
just
fall
told me
into
we
the
need to order something
establishment
from my
traps of
mother-in-law.
perpetual
Her
opposition
birthday's
that are
Friday. I'm like,
required
oh,
for
thanks
them
for letting
to
me know.
perpetuate ongoing forever wars. But that's just what I think. Until next time, stay free.
The Amazon I go.
With, and you know, you talk about the impact of that day. You guys won. You guys held. You know, democracies are not defined by our bad days.
There's lockers available, yes. You have to have your own lock, but yeah.
My God, it looks like a huge wank. Pay attention.
I was distracted by that enormous flying.
Johnson. Yes, sir. Get on the horn to British intelligence and let them know about this.
No, the previous 27 weeks. Basically, this is a tax credit for we get a tax credit for hiring folks that are on unemployment or on assistance.
That's okay.
No. They double vaccinated me and gave me 5 booster shots. Look at the state of me. But do it all again. This is what we have to do to protect people. They gave my buddy 13 shots. He's dead now.
You killed someone?
Wasn't me. But then I'm just getting warmed up. Now, who wants the first jab?
Why do you just number?
No, I don't even know why it gives one.
Why aren't you wearing your masks?
Tez will arrange for the retrieval of the remaining Lego sets by the time this building is operational. We will then crush the Republicans
Yeah,
with
just
one
the
swift
guys.
stroke.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope you're all having a wonderful hump day, Wednesday, Wadoonsday, whatever it might be called. I think, it's been an interesting week. Been an interesting week. Very much so. Been an interesting week. How is everybody's week going for all of you? Shout out to being on time today. Shout out to being on time, Quartering. I'm so happy you're on time. I'm immediately going to click the join button below the video and support you on locals because I appreciate people who are on time. It's been a wild week. Yesterday we had our new we had our new Bud Light moment.
I was trying to click on something else.
The audio thing was not a Rumble problem. That wasn't my fault.
Yeah, 'cause
I
it's
mute
gotta
my
be
mic
numbers.
during the intro. And oftentimes I
So,
forget
yeah, just
to turn it on
12:02.
until you guys all say, "Hey, boomer."
Slash. Yeah,
you forgot
here
your
you go.
mic. And as always, my live
you
streams
go.
are always free of a financial charge. But I do ask that you click that Rumble button down below as your price of admission. So you don't appreciate yourself when you're on Timcast. I'm not sure what that means. I appreciate all my viewers. 2 minutes late. I was not. It's 12 o'clock on the dot when I went live.
Do I want to just hit exit here?
Let me see.
I did get the day right. That's true. That's true.
Yep. Now you're in
We
the
got a lot
system.
going on
I'm
in
going
the
to pull
world.
you up and I'm going to
We
load
got,
some electronic documents
the
for you to log
Jason
back in.
Aldean. Oh, you were late to the show the one time. I was never late to Timcast's show in my life. I was late to the pre-planning session, which I did not know was a big deal. Next week. Oh, should we add some new emotes while we're just chilling here for a minute, waiting for everyone to get into the arena? I have some new emoticons, schmemotes. Let me see. My thumbnail guy sent me. There we go. Holy moly, he did a bunch. I can't add all these immediately. Okay. Whoa. Okay, let's say let's go here. Let's add 5 right now. How about that? There's this one. This one. We'll
What did you want
add 5
to
for
do for your
today.
direct deposit?
Oh, I got
Some of these are pretty funny.
All right, I'm going to send you an
Some
email.
good Pepe ones. I
Just
see.
click on the
We
link.
see,
And if you have any issues with it, let me know. We
retard
can do it
alert.
manually.
Okay, these ones will be
I got to
cool.
send
Let's
you
add
an
these.
email for the insurance anyway. So there'll be 2 links there. So if you don't want the insurance, you just click on it.
Emote's only
log
available
in,
on mobile.
opt
That is
out.
not true. I think it's the other way around. I know they're working
Not
on
the best
it.
coverage in the world.
Let's see. How do I do this?
I'm
Go
not a
into
salesman
settings,
for
account
them,
options.
so I'm not about to try and tell you guys, oh, it's great when I know it
Emotes.
ain't.
Found it.
I just use the
1, 2,
VA.
3, 4, 5, 6. We already have 10. How about 5 more? Let's go with.
You have to make that decision today.
At some point, there'll be some
Yeah,
that
you're
are
up to your first
subscriber
30 days after you
exclusives, but
start.
not right now. Now it's about having fun.
Yep.
So
What
we'll
do
do
you got?
that.
I mean, whenever.
Okay, there's one new one.
Oh, I haven't printed out. Yeah.
Taping and mudding drywall. That's
I used to have on my phone, man. They keep scanning
legit
the
work.
phone now, and
Oh, yeah?
a lot of stuff.
okay. We'll get this one. This one's cute. And then
My alternate job is in
let's
IT,
go
so I
with
know
this one. This one's
what
funny.
you're talking about. All right. So,
Dude, Rumble is legit getting bigger. You might have to refresh your chat to see the new emotes. Hold on, I'll tell you when I'm done adding them. I had 200,000 views on Rumble yesterday. That's wild.
okay. So, Barbara, you're going to
I mean, considering
click on employee login.
All right, there's 5 new emotes, friends, just for you. You may have to refresh chat to see them, I think. Yeah, there's some. Yeah.
First time I've had to write the date. I was like, wow, it's the 19th already.
We have 141,988 followers. That means we are just 12 new followers away from 142,000.
Yes.
So if you happen to be tuned into the stream and you're not yet following,
Holidays all the way up
it would be
to
the absolute
June
bee's
is
knees
like
if you did.
Everybody in my life's
You'd be
birthday,
a lot cooler
anniversary,
if you
whatever.
did.
So the second half of the year is we're just steering toward Halloween.
Everybody in my family.
I'm sure usually Rick stops in somewhere along the stream. I'm sure that there is emails from mobile are coming very soon.
Mine's 17.
May 26th. My wife's aunt is May 17th.
I think if you're on mobile, you can still type them in.
The
Whatever
material
happened to
data
the
sheets are in the
streaming lady
break
green
room.
vest? She's nowhere on the internet. Actually, I think somebody
So you
did
have
like
access
Somebody did like a where is she now? Trump screamer.
Some machines there, but there's
Where are they?
when you go into the building, the first room. I mean, after you go in, right goes to the offices, left goes to the break room.
How does crying
As you
liberal
as soon as you walk in, you're in the break
Iowan
room.
became a worldwide meme.
To the right of the break room is
one.
the women's locker room. The left is the men's locker room. But in the break room,
There was an
which
article
means
not that long
If you bring
ago.
your own lunch, there's refrigerators that they lock.
So
nobody can sneak into the break room and nab your lunch. But yeah, they have them unlocked at the beginning of the shift. You know, if you have something.
Now
that needs
she's
to be
older and she's
refrigerated,
probably like
throw it in the fridge
totally
and
regretting it. You know.
And then the locker.
Okay. Hopefully we can go to 142,000 followers.
They're attached to the.
Let's get into
break
the
room.
news.
So there's two separate lockers. Yeah, and they're in there.
Let's see.
I've never been inside of them, so I imagine there's a bathroom in there too.
U.S. Marine vet 91 jumps to his death from 17th floor of luxury Manhattan apartment block. Okay, that's sad.
Yeah, it's the whole routine. If you touch something with your gloved hands, you got to wash your hands between the gloves.
There we go.
Real good though.
The Aldine thing.
Okay, you're logged in. Right there, what you're looking at is the employee portal. Okay, you can access this from your
So
phone
is
or
the
anything.
female juicy sommelier.
You'll see where it
which are
says
my
pay
first two
history in the
standalone
top there
videos
in the
today.
middle.
We've got other things.
Yep, that's where you'll
Also
go to
chat
check your
about,
pay
because-
stubs. A lot of times your pay stubs will be posted
Hold on a
couple days
second.
before your payday, so you'll be able to at least know ahead of time if there's an issue or an error.
Okay.
Also, your W-2s will be there at the end of the year,
Okay.
so you won't have to wait for them to come in the mail. As soon as they're created, they'll pop in there. Okay.
So is this?
Okay,
is this
everything's fine.
or whatever I can dump?
A friend of mine is playing.
It's just a web. It's our website.
I heard
Yeah,
like a
it's-
big
it's-
crash.
let me show you.
And I also heard the mailman in the
This
driveway.
site here.
And
IEScorp.net.
I thought it was. I thought the mailman like.
It's
backed
it'll
into
be
my
on
house
some of
or
the
something.
paperwork you get.
But he's just out there playing around.
It's on the. I think it is. If not, you can write it down.
Here are the Jason Aldean lyrics that are extremely racist.
Yeah,
So
if you
trigger
Google
warning.
us, that's the website it shows under Google.
Trigger warning, everybody.
Oh no, wait, sorry.
TW racism.
IEScorp.net.
No, I don't get SWAT anymore. My cops know. The cops know me now. It's all good.
IES for Impact Employment Solutions. Yeah, go ahead.
These are the Jason Aldean lyrics.
CORP.net.
So chat knows if iPhone or iPad, you must click the Rumble button prior to watching. Once we click the watch, there is no Rumble thumbs up. Oh,
Yep.
smash that
IES
Rumble. Interesting. They're working on that with the new layout. It is a fun tractor just to fart around with. 60 horsepower tractor is like
I don't know why they
plenty
did
of
that .com address.
plenty of
You just wrote it. All right.
plenty of juice to go and have lots of fun. Here we go. Trigger warning: racism. Send your kids out of the room. Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk. Carjack an
Okay,
old
so you're
lady
logged
at
in.
a red light.
Today you're going to work on where it
Pull a
says
gun
new
on the
documents.
owner of a liquor store.
click on
You
that,
think
and
it's
then
cool?
click on Start
Well,
Wizard
if,
for
act
you.
like a fool if you like.
Maximized.
Cuss out a cop, spit in
Well,
his
as you're going
face,
through
stomp
these
on the
forms,
flake,
it's just
and light
want
it
you to
up.
check a box.
Yeah,
It's
you
fine
think you're
as you go
tough.
through them, okay?
Try that in a small
So
town.
you'll hit a tax form, I-9 form, but you'll be able to step
I'm
through certain
not
parts of it.
seeing the part about black
They're
people. there.
quirky.
Techless Cowboys has been streaming on Rumble.
send
Starlink
you
Basic
that
kind of sucks
email
for
now,
streaming
so-
and online play
Feel
together.
free
Do you have
to
any insight for better Starlink plan that has more consistent bitrate upload in that regard? I'm streaming on Starlink right now,
So are you consider the?
but I stream on
This is with the reassignment.
Starlink Business, which is like $400 a month or something like that. One thing I would do is, you could lower your bit rate. If you're also playing an online game, I'm not sure how all that works, but I was able to maintain about
You got boots
3,000
and stuff
kilobits
already?
just fine.
Okay.
You gotta have steel toe boots.
Yeah,
on Starlink.
or composite. They don't have to necessarily be boots. You do
3,000
shoes
to
and stuff like that.
4,000
too.
I wouldn't set it any higher than that.
Okay, yeah, those are comfortable. So you're gonna be on your feet for a while. So I would get something comfortable.
I'm not going
Yeah,
to
for
tell you
sure.
to
And
pay
actually,
for
what
it,
I had somebody donate a bunch of
I
money
get-
one time.
I never get less
for me to
than
go out and buy
20
boots from
megabits
folks that didn't have
up,
them, and I got a deal on
20 to 25 megabits up on
Well,
business.
Ohio.
It's not quite the same. It's not bi-directional.
That's actually
like,
where I bought them.
cable
It was in
internet would be.
Perrysburg at the Meyer in Perrysburg.
I go to the one right there on Alexa Road, right
Okay.
there, Shoe Carnival.
Yeah.
I paid $30 for nothing.
So sorry I did a
I mean,
racism.
originally
He
$100.
said Yeah, he sent me $150 and I was able to buy 5.
And hardwire everything if you're streaming too. Don't use
Only
the
ones I
Wi-Fi.
still
If you
have
use
are
the Starlink
size
Wi-Fi,
14. See,
one tip is get
it's on
the
back, on the very
Ethernet
top
adapter.
there, the underlined
Get the
address.
Ethernet adapter and use that because the Starlink Wi-Fi blows.
They're gonna expect you.
So wherever your dish is, make sure it's
Just say I sent you.
and make sure you're hardwired off of the receiver.
Someone email them at
That
the end
should
of the day.
help. You should be able to stream on it. I mean, there are slow times.
I'm doing it now.
Depends if you live in one of those areas
Before you do
where
that, I
you
want to
get
make sure
like
you got it before
you get stupid congestion.
I wouldn't
which
click on
know
anything yet
happens.
until you're ready to put in
It
the
happens on
info,
mine
but-
too, but because I'm on business, like my bandwidth is
Make sure
generally
that you get
protected.
A lot of times it ends up.
Now
in
here
folks,
comes some racism
scammer.
from Jason Aldean, everybody. Avert your eyes and ears. Got a gun that my granddad gave me. They say one day they're gonna round up. Well, that stuff might fly in the city. Good luck. Try that in a small town. I'm not exactly sure. Where is the promotion of violence? I
Whatever you
believe he's
put in there.
saying you are not going to,
Oh, she did it. That's right.
people in a small town are not going to comply with that. And by the way, I will also say I think people in the big city aren't going to comply with that either.
Okay.
So you need other attachments to the tractor to do extra things. Well, yeah, the tractor is really just a tool. It doesn't do anything without the attachments. The attachments I have are like a pull behind brush
that's
hog
right,
kind of thing. It's not really a brush hog. It runs on the PTO. I have a
All right.
bucket and then I have a
Appreciate
grapple.
it. If you have issues with that, just give me a shout. We'll be able to do it
With
manually.
those 3 tools, I can
Okay.
do almost anything I want.
All right, I'll let them know that you'll be there in the
If
morning.
you want to put like a snow blower on there, you can, but it's a ton of
problem,
money.
sir.
And I mean, I have a long driveway, but it's not wide, so it's not girthy, but it's long. And by the way, the song yesterday had like before all this fake outrage. Before all this fake outrage, it had like 300,000 views on YouTube, and right now it has 1.1 million, and it's currently trending. I think it's pretty hilarious. I'm not going to play the song, but it's now up to 1.3 million views. So in like a few hours, I got another 200,000 songs, and it's now trending number 10 on music. You know what's funny about the lyrics and what's funny about the people who say these lyrics are racist, right? About the people who say these lyrics are racist. It's like John Deere tractors are racist. I don't have a John Deere, I have a Kubota. John Deeres are very nice machines, but they're also very expensive. I have nothing bad to say about John Deere's like commercial grade stuff, but Kubota makes a really nice tractor in my opinion. I think that it's pretty interesting that liberals automatically think of black people when he's talking about crime and racism, though, right? Yikes. I don't. You know who I think about? When I hear these lyrics is not black people. It's Antifa, which is quite frankly, rich white kids, by and large, rich white suburban kids. That's who Antifa is. Do I have a wood chipper attachment for the tractor? They make one of those that runs on the PTO. I've only ever seen like gas wood chippers. I was looking at them because I have like probably this might be boring to some people, but in my state, and like
We'll
in many
give you a
other
written
states,
copy of these rules. too.
most lot lines are, especially out in the country, are identified by large tree lines. Well, I have
for the
4 large tree
press,
lines,
maybe?
and I have about 25 dead. What are those trees? Freaking box elders. I have a bunch of boxes because there's like weevils or some sort of bug came through, and I got they have like a couple branches that still have leaves, so I'm leaving them up. But also, it's a thing that you don't want to leave because they'll eventually blow over, and then they're more difficult to handle when they're laying on other trees and other stuff like that. So I need a wood chipper to get rid of all the wood. But then I was thinking I might split the wood and keep it. It still burns just fine.
Yeah, read it. It comes through on my OBS.
So I don't know. And they're expensive, and this year was very expensive for me. We did a major expansion for the coffee company. I built an entire fulfillment center. We have like 6 employees now. I also have ash trees. That's right. I have ash trees with emerald ash borers. Yep, I have those too, but I also have a bunch of dead box elders. Yeah, the ash trees, like, you literally could like punch a hole in them. They're like 2 feet diameter, 3 feet diameter, and practically hollow in it. So you can just push them over. And you know, when you're dealing with trees, these trees are all about 30 feet tall. So you got to be careful. Like, you don't want to be just any kind of geek out there, like pushing down 30-foot trees that might fall into another tree, that might fall into another tree, that might land on top of you. So, interesting. You know, the thing about country music too, by the way, if you look at CMT, you know, Country Music TV, the people that pulled the video, this is only going to sell him 1 million more records, right? The John Deere is notoriously anti-right to repair. That is correct. They are. Kubota seems more open to it. A lot of mainstream country music is woke. Like, a lot of people who don't listen to country think, there's country music's the last bastion. Like, bro, look, and again, I don't even listen to country music. You know, I guess modern country. I like some older country. I like folk more than anything. But I think you had Lady Antebellum, which is a very popular country music band, publicly coming out and saying, "Oh, we're going to change our name because a zillion years ago, people that weren't us or our parents or our parents' parents or our parents' parents' parents owned slaves," and the antebellum South kind of invokes that. So they changed their name to Lady A. The Dixie Chicks also had some woke crap too. Wokeness in pop is everywhere, even including country music. Garth Brooks is extremely woke. And I think that, you know, you have a lot of these people like, oh, it's country music, they're based. No, they're not. They're not. It's like modern country music is no different than pop rap music.
Super weird.
It's controlled, it's filtered, it has a purpose, and it executes that purpose. It's just the truth. I also, you know, by the way, I don't care for like mega rap or mega country music. I like lyrics about, you know, maybe stuff that I can't even quite figure out the first time. Or that it's not even that they're redneck woke. I think that you have people like Lady Antebellum, and they're not really country. They're just musicians who play country music. And you have this situation where, like, they're just grifting in a way. You know what I mean? And in order to keep the grift up, to stay propped up by the machine, you have to do what the machine says. And the machine says, you say Black Lives Matter. And the machine says, you put a knee down. You change the name of your band because maybe it, you know, referred to some bad part of history, even though you never intended it that way, but you still pretend. That's what it's all about. And the mainstream media can get mad about this song. Look how Roseanne Barr. Okay, so is Shannon Watts another? Who the hell is Shannon Watts? Is she another country music broad? Who is this? I'm blocked by her, so I have no idea who she is, but I'm already blocked, so that's not a good sign. I have no idea who this bitch is, woman. Sorry. Okay, so Aldean responds, and then this broad's like, Jason Aldean simply wants to return to a time in America when good old boys could shoot or beat the shit out of people who didn't think they belonged in their town. Actually, that's probably fine with me. Fine by me. I mean, I don't even know exactly. Oh, she's an anti-gun nut. Okay. Also, this song is 2 months old and far past the legal song judgment period. Good day. So Roseanne Barr, the 75-year-old goat of all female comedians ever, comes flying in off the top rope with him talking about small town values is not the same thing as your mind-controlled dipshit brain filters it as. All you're doing is showing that you're batshit crazy, and that does no good for anyone. If you don't like the song, don't listen to it. Certainly don't project your insanity on it. My God, you people are insane. Maybe check yourself into a facility or something. Liberals in my day protected art and made fun of those that said it had satanic messaging when you played it backwards or shit like that. That's what you guys are now. The epitome of what you used to hate. Go back, or maybe go get help, or maybe get dicked down and shut the fuck up. Thanks. Damn, Roseanne. Damn.
Thanks, last responder.
Damn, Daniels. Complete devastation. I don't know about you all, but I was raised by Roseanne. It's one of my all-time favorite shows. It's on my list to rewatch it because it was so good. It taught about so much about family values, and also, by the way, that show was extremely progressive. Like one of the main characters, one of her friends was gay. Roseanne's mom was gay, and it was very like accepting, and it made jokes about it, but like not in a mean or like mean-spirited way, you know? Like and you know, the show was just great. I loved it. And the Halloween episodes were always my favorite. The show was, I mean, just so good. And then when, you know, they pulled her out of her own show, I thought anybody that watched The Conners was like an embarrassment. Like the fact that people watch that show, the fact that all those people, all those actors that Roseanne made those people. That Darlene character, all those people went on to have huge careers because of Roseanne, and all those slimy worms took their paycheck to be on The Conners. Give me a break. John Goodman, get bent.
So why do you have to complete it if you hold more than one job at a time?
I am Married with Children. Could not be made today. Too much fat.
Let me see what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm currently rewatching Married with Children. I'm on like season 4 right now. The Psycho Dad.
They want to know
so
too much,
great.
basically, the federal government.
There is they have some moments of like making fun of fat people, but like whatever. I just watched an episode last night where Al Bundy meets a gay guy, and he's like, the gay guy like cooks for his husband and works a job, and like Al's like, I love you, like like they didn't make the guy being gay seem weird. They just like made the whole interaction funny.
The way the new form
even
is
that,
set
like
up,
people act like that stuff didn't exist. That was in the 90s.
Anything on it, it's assuming
he did
that
call
you're
him,
claiming at least.
at one point, I think he called him a homo.
Now, if you
or
claim other
homosexual or
dependents or
something
anything
like
like
that.
there are
But
some
like
things
that, you
that-
couldn't, you know, that's a little dicey nowadays. But like Al Bundy goes and like gets him back together with his
Yeah,
husband.
it's none of their business.
Jeremy, how does one email you had a question about the public? The quartering@gmail.com is fine.
Yeah, they want to make sure they're
Just like
getting
the
enough
cast
money
of Harry
from
Potter throwing J.K. Rowling under the bus when they'd be nobody without her.
Yeah.
I 100%
And basically,
agree.
I keep mine.
100% agree. Plus, all of those kids in
there
Harry
was one
Potter never had to
exemption
work
that
again.
I don't
They had so much
actually
money,
have
they never
because
had to
I'm
work
not
again.
A person that likes to have the government holding my money, and then
So they didn't
I get
have.
to
They
beg
didn't
for
need that
tax.
money. Half of those people had plenty of money on other shows.
I
didn't need to do the Conners. John Goodman certainly.
I try and get it
didn't
as
do.
close to not having to do anything as possible.
Like,
some years I'm good at it. Some years, like this last year, I had to pay like $300.
I was gonna say like this.
Roseanne had the first show about AIDS. Yep, I remember that. I remember. I mean, there's so many iconic Roseanne episodes. I remember the one where Darlene and the neighbor girl make tornadoes or whatever. The first time they get drunk. The first time they're smoking cigarettes. It dealt with so many family.
And that's how
family
I'd rather
abuse,
determine where I
Dan,
put my
like,
money
beats the
rather than
hell out
letting the
of,
government hold it for me.
Jackie's
and then
boyfriend.
I
Because
get to
Jackie's
beg for it
boyfriend
back
hit her.
at tax time, and you know, sometimes they're like, no,
there's
no,
like
you got to do
they
this.
touched on all these
something like that
major.
comes out. It's like, yeah, wait a minute.
Your husband?
I'd rather them.
So we have 3 guys who
send
won't
me a
touch my
bill.
wife. What's the problem? Yeah, that episode. yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm very
Yeah.
libertarian, so I mean, to me, taxation is theft. So it's
Like that show, Roseanne was so iconic. Like I grew up on that. Home Improvement, Family Matters.
The government doesn't produce
all
it.
those shows actually dealt with real shit in a way that didn't feel cringe.
That's just my personal
You know?
feelings toward it.
Yeah, Darlene stabbed Roseanne in the back with the cows 100%. She basically took over the mom role. And like, again, like none of those people needed the money. And you know, I didn't want anything to do with that show because of what they did.
Yeah,
to
if
Roseanne.
it's
And,
just
like,
right now, if you don't do
I would
anything,
see
it'll
clips
just
of
be
it, and
you,
I would get all the
you
member
shouldn't have
berries
to.
because they still had the original actors, you know.
So
Drew Carey show, that was also classic. Drew Carey never really did like any serious episodes. I always like the kind of serious.
No, if you
episodes.
put
Those are the
exempt,
ones I
that means they're
remember.
not going to tax you
Like
at all.
if you think if you think back to like what's the episode I remember almost most about?
And usually that's just folks
Saved
like
by the
on,
Bell, which is another show that I've seen every single
Social
episode, and
Security or
I'll probably be
something like
rewatching soon. Is the episode with
where they have like
Jessica
different tax
Spano
exemptions.
gets hooked on like Adderall essentially or speed.
Yeah,
it has like that breakdown. Like they did have some like real stuff.
So yeah, you put how you
Or
claim,
like,
and
on
that's
Fresh
perfect.
Prince
And
when
then
Will
you just
Smith's
go
real
down.
dad
If
shows
it's
up
just
and then
going to be
abandons
you
him
in step
again.
5, you just check
And like
that
Will
box,
Smith has
sign
like some
it.
great acting.
And the rest is a
Like,
worksheet, which I don't even
like Fresh
understand.
Prince had
After
so
that,
many
where you
real
sign it
issues.
there.
Like all the
There's
episodes I
blanks
remember
there,
are the
but
ones
it
that
doesn't
dealt with
matter
real
what you
stuff.
put in
So
there,
first there was like the
it doesn't
Will Smith
change
episode where or the Fresh Prince episode where
It's a multiple job worksheet. And it shows tax skills.
they get racially profiled
I think
and
you're just
arrested in a
basically
small
trying to
town.
make it as confusing as
The
possible.
one where Uncle Phil, Will's real dad shows up and then he abandons him again.
Extra
that was like
withholding
super
in
powerful.
step 4. It's right
There
in
was
the middle.
where Carlton and Will get robbed.
You can
and,
have them
like,
take extra
Will
if you want
pushes him out of the way and gets shot, and then Carlton buys a gun, and they have like a real message about
like step 4, step
gun
C,
violence
yeah.
and not getting out and buying buying guns and stuff like that.
And if that
Yeah,
ever,
I
if
remember
that,
episode Family
if
Ties,
that isn't
where the son was
comfortable
taking
for
drugs
you,
to stay awake to pass
anytime
his
we can
exam.
change it anytime.
Like that was wild for its time. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that happened on Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, I am
remember,
too.
like,
I'm
so
actually going to keep an eye on your
excited. Like she had like a melon. I'm so scared. Yeah. All from just getting addicted to ephedrine or whatever it was called, basically. Uncle Phil knocked his dad out, didn't he? No, I don't think so. I think he. If I remember that clip, Uncle Phil catches his dad trying to sneak out before Will gets there, and Uncle Phil like just crushes him.
Next,
Like,
and then
tells
now
him to
this is
get
the
out,
state
don't
version.
come back, kind of thing.
They don't need your license number. I don't know why they asked for it. They don't need to know whether you're a
the
new
Fresh Prince
employee or
episode where
not.
Carlton gets denied from a
And
woke
then
black
if you want to
fraternity
claim yourself,
because he's
you'll
not the
put
kind
a
of
1
black.
in
Yeah,
the
they call him a sellout. They call him a sellout.
Okay, then
but
you
what
can
they were
put
really
0
saying
there,
is they were
or,
calling them what do black people
the
call other
same
black
thing
people who are act
in
white,
the-
like Oreos or something like that. That's what
That
like
number 7
yeah,
is
those
if you want
episodes
them
were
to
all
take extra.
iconic. I don't remember like the whatever episodes of those shows, but I remember the ones that dealt with real stuff.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
So then, and that's it. So then you just sign it in box 9.
like there's all those were like so iconic. I
Nope.
remember the Family Matters episode where
9
somebody
right there with
spray
highlighters.
painted the N-word on their daughter's locker.
And you're all set. Go down and click finish.
The Saved by the Bell where she moves to Vegas and becomes a stripper. Oh my God, she destroyed her career.
Good. So
she did.
Where it says pending
and
review,
almost-
that just
you
means
know
I
what,
have
to
to
be
do
honest
my
with you,
portion
none of those
forms
people
to submit them to you. So you're good.
None
you
of
can
those
log off.
people did anything with their career except for
All right, and here
Mark
comes
Paul
the word
Gosselaar
redundancy.
shortly
You've done
for like a little
select
while,
all the stuff like that.
and Tiffany Amber Thiessen, Zach and Kelly basically.
It doesn't. The position you're starting at does
there
not
was
require
that,
a background, but if we ever have to shift you into a position that requires it, we just ask
Lisa Turtle,
for your
Voorhees,
acknowledgement.
whatever her name is, she turned out to be like a drug addict, a crack addict. Screech is dead, and was a total degenerate. In fact, I actually played a show. I can't remember if we played a show at his house or went to a show at his house that a buddy of mine was playing at. When I was Mario Lopez, I forgot about him. He's still very popular. Yep, Mario Lopez is still popular. Yeah, and he's still fit and healthy, and as far as I know, never really had any issues. You know, but a lot of those people went on to really just, yeah, dude, Screech is dead.
So say that they
he had like
Mhm.
yeah, Lopez is rich. I forgot about him.
I mean,
Huge success.
ultimately,
Huge
that's
success.
what they try to do, just to give you the 3-day weekend.
Do they have more employees than what they need? Is that
Yeah, I think, and by the way, all those people
Well,
made
it's
all the
because
money.
it's because they're 10-hour
Oh,
shifts,
man.
so they
I'm
don't want
bringing
to
up
pay
Leo
more.
Remini right now.
They don't
I'm
want you
being
to
dead
have to
set,
hybrid.
honest, 100%
I mean, if
truthful.
they get in a pinch, they'll
Leah
do it.
Remini,
They've done
from
it
that
before.
episode from the
They
season,
just hate
Leon Carosi's daughter.
They'd rather
I
have
watched
enough
Saved by the
people to where
Bell.
everybody
Leon
just
Carosi's
works
daughter was my
40
first
hours.
crush, my first like TV crush. I was in love with her.
Yeah, I mean, using
And then
us,
I still
like. I mean, they pay us a
even
premium.
on
It
King of
doesn't
Queens,
affect your
like,
pay
she
rate. They
aged
pay
very
us a
well.
premium
She's very
to
good looking still, I
get you
think.
going. 'Cause while you're a temp, we're paying for your insurance.
Ravens,
We're
hey Jeremy, when I log into the
discount
public, I'm going to
insurance.
try to go to a member video.
We-
It just
we
takes me to
pay,
sign up.
unemployment
for an account
insurance,
page. What do I
stuff
do?
like that. So if
Are
you
you?
get hurt,
Did you
we
sign up?
deal
To
with
be,
it,
you should
not
email me
them.
recording@gmail.com.
They have to fill out the
I'll try to help
paperwork
you.
because they're there. But
She also
we
was
submit
in
it to the state and
a
all that stuff.
Scientologist
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but
we do
like,
your
Leah
payroll.
Remini, Man.
We don't use a payroll company. We actually, and in
Then
fact,
she was on a
for
show
some,
married to
some
King
of our
Queens guy,
clients, we just do payroll.
Doug Heffernan. I was like, oh, okay, I could get
Like
I could still
ADP,
get her.
you know.
Malibu Sands Beach Club. That's right. I never watched. I think I watched a College Years, like a couple of the episodes, but I doubt they were any good. All those people were just like, "Oh, we got nothing better to do. Let's just make some money," you know.
And they would offer their own insurance.
I was
and
too
stuff
young
like
for the
that.
Cosby Show.
And at 40
I
hours
never
a
really
week,
got into
it
that.
usually takes around 4 months. 4.5
Okay, so
months,
anyways, let's talk about
$500.
news. I feel like I could get Leah.
No, they
for an
have
interview
to. I mean,
these days,
there's
but
been
now I've
like
put out
shining
that
stars
she's
where
my
they
childhood
bought
crush.
the
And like,
employee out. Basically, they
chat will sell me out.
cut us a check to hire you in early.
Because I know you guys will.
It's very rare, but it's usually, you know, someone.
I mean, yeah,
you know,
Kelly
someone that
from
comes in and is
Saved by the
like,
Bell
you know,
was
we don't want a
really
chance of this
hot.
person not sticking around unless we're
Winnie
gonna hire him in,
Cooper,
so.
you know, at that age.
And usually, and then
these
they
were
call us
like-
and say, "Well, how much is it to buy out?" We tell
These
them
were
how
like
much it
crushes,
is, and they're like, "Okay."
but like Leah Remini was the first where I was like, I think I was like 13 or 14
and then it's
when she was on.
silly
What
because
season
it's
was
the
that?
exact same
What year was that season? Because like I was like you know, old enough to be dating and touching boobs at that time.
Recently.
Yeah, I know you guys.
I
will
shot him
follow.
an email.
I know you would. I think I
Okay.
could. I have a connection to her.
I didn't even check my
Summit
email.
or Malibu Sands. Wait, that was only season 3? That was only season 3?
So how do they do it? Are you allowed to bring a water bottle to the line then?
Not sure. I don't think you can. There's water available.
Oh, okay,
There's,
so
they've got
92.
coolers there with cups and stuff.
I was probably seeing it for the first time. I was like
I'm
12,
not sure if
13.
they
Yeah,
can.
that makes sense.
I don't actually go into
Because
the
I don't know if I
production
was
area that
watching.
often.
I remember religiously watching Saved by the Bell, but I don't know if I was watching it on reruns.
I mean, they're not going to let you get
you know, or if I was
dehydrated
watching them
out
when they were
there.
new. I'm pretty sure I was watching them on reruns. Yeah. And now I'm looking at pictures. Oh my god. Okay.
I know they
Yeah,
don't.
anyway.
They don't want you having the phone out at the line though.
I won't
There's
tell
multiple
anyone if you buy
reasons for
some
that.
cast brew coffee. I have I'm
Oh
pretty
yeah, I
strong
mean, if
on,
your phone
on
rings,
my
you're
supply
gonna
of coffee.
you're gonna pull it out of your pocket.
I have a
So,
pretty good amount of it.
and right there, that's big no. Not only for like proprietary.
You're so lucky to
things
see
that
Gina
they
Carano in
do,
person.
just
I was
safety.
alone with
Yeah,
Gina in her
forklifts flying
movie
around,
trailer.
machinery running, and
She's so sweet.
your face is in your
person
phone,
too.
it's-
She's so nice.
and that's honestly, it's one of the main reasons that we
All right,
we let kids
stop geeking
go.
out.
Kids just can't be without their phone. For a few.
Okay. Talking about this loser. Tennessee lawmakers, we have an obligation to condemn Jason Aldean's heinous song for calling for racist violence. If you think Jason Aldean's song is calling for racist violence, then you think all violence is perpetrated by black people, and therefore you are racist. Aha!
You signed a paper at the beginning saying you
Aha.
wouldn't. You wouldn't.
I think I've said all that I need to say about Jason Aldean, right?
Yeah, my preference
I don't know the
when I'm hiring
guy.
I mean, I'll hire
obviously.
anyone who wants to
I don't know
work.
his long
I mean,
and
if you
storied
wanna work,
history. If
that's great.
he's,
I
you know,
do get some
I
young
doubt he's
folks that
racist.
Are actually pretty motivated, but
You know,
anymore,
it's just
anybody
it's
under
weird
30,
out there,
just-
right?
they
It's
don't seem
weird.
like they wanna do
It's
shit.
weird times out there.
Currently, where I'm working,
Now, all 3,300 of you beautiful people out there, please take a moment to join Rumble. If you haven't already created an account, please do. And
COVID
get
did.
involved.
I mean, COVID made it so much worse just because they were
Get
getting
involved
checks
by,
for not
you know,
getting
chatting with the chat. If you haven't yet, please do click this follow button on the channel so you get notified. I do live stream every day from 12 to 2-ish.
I tell everyone
But
all the time,
I also upload 4 standalone videos too, and so I'd love to have you, enjoy those.
That's
and
an
get
ethic.
notified. Then there's a like on the
I
video.
say it
There's
a
only
lot,
180.
'cause I
That's
deal with
pretty
this
sad. Well, 327.
And
Let's
it's
get
not
up to
just
1,000 as
this
usual.
town or anything.
And
It's every.
There's a join button
everywhere.
below
I
the
have
video
3
where you
offices.
can
I have an
support
office
me
here,
and
I got one in
my
Dearborn,
two
and I
my
have one in
staff of
Rossford
2
right
meme
now.
makers and my thumbnail
And,
guy. For $5 a month on locals and get access to some members only content and things of that nature. Certainly not required.
I mean, you
but
get some
greatly
sharp
appreciated.
kids, some pretty basic.
The other thing is
I
this
mean,
stream
they
has
wanna
a
work,
sponsor, and that is
great.
Goldco. Did you
But
see
it's
that?
always like this
Joe
when you
Biden's
send them in.
is going to cost us taxpayers $1.7 trillion. Have you heard about this? Also, Biden's new budget proposes $4.7 trillion in new taxes. The same budget could push our debt from $31 trillion to a whopping $51 trillion. Can you imagine what that's going to do to our economy, your quality of life, or potential retirement? I've partnered with the top-rated precious metals company, Goldco, because they're a great company with an amazing reputation. Right now, they're giving you up to $10,000 in free silver while supplies last. Plus, all qualified callers this week will receive a free Ronald Reagan brand gold. The gold brand gold is taken, So check check it out while we're chatting. You're gonna win the Powerball tonight. I hope you do, bud. Let me be Russ. Let me be the first person, because there will be many. If you win the Powerball, can a brother get, like, I just want you to peel me off $1 million.
So is it the type of deal?
Just $1 million. It's like, what is it? 500 million after taxes?
Or do they have like relief operations?
Just peel me off $1 million.
I mean, for bathroom or
and I'll
something
be
like that,
for
they'll
everything.
have relief. But for break time, they just shut it down.
Everybody goes.
I mean, that would
Everybody
be.
goes same.
I'm not asking for much. Just one. In fact, anyone in my chat, if any of you win the Powerball tonight, I'm not asking for much. I just want you to just peel me off.
And that's
$1
more of
million.
a parking issue.
Okay.
Peel me off that, and I can just go to Rumble exclusively then, and not have to worry about YouTube to pay the bills and all this kind of stuff. You can buy a lot of coffee. Okay, that's fine. But you buy. Okay, Hemorrhoid Hitman promised me $1 million. Okay, all right, $1 million, but you still got to pay the taxes. I'm fine with that. Buy $1 million in coffee then. I'm fine with that. Yeah, see, Rumble Rick says if you peel me off $1 million, I'll just go Rumble exclusive. Period. I think that would be a fair amount. That would let me go Rumble exclusive. The interesting stories are, by the way, yay! Look at, we just went to 142,000 followers. Let's go. Hey Rick, how close are you guys to emotes on mobile? That's a constant question from people. Because I don't think, I'm just gonna put this out there. Okay? I don't think there's a single person on Rumble that has better emotes than me. I said it, and I stand 10 toes behind it. 10 toes behind it. No chance anyone has better emotes than me. And I've still got 30 more locked in the chamber in an extended mag, ready to go. I need a wood chipper emoji. Okay, I'll get on that. That can happen. I only see companies like the Daily Wire who help actors being canceled would help Roseanne. I don't know why nobody is helping Roseanne. I've had indirect talks with her. I've talked to her son. I think I could probably get her on the show at some point, but she's doing like big boy shows now. She was on like Piers Morgan. She was on Crowder's show. It's hard for me to be like, yeah, I know you're on Crowder's show with 75,000 live people, but how about coming on my show, Roseanne? All right. How about a news story? How about a news story? Now, the movie Barbie is coming out. Now, I grew up with a twin sister. She is still my twin sister and still exists and is a great person who, for some reason, feels inclined to buy my coffee at full price and not use my promo codes, but that's neither here nor there. I know more than most 40-year-old men should about Barbie because, well, I grew up around it. My G.I. Joes would invade the Barbie town, would hijack the Barbie Corvette, would also do unspeakable things like cut their hair. I didn't cut the Barbie's hair. The army men, my G.I. Joes and army men did that. I didn't do that. Spraying ketchup and barbecue sauce all over. I didn't do that. That's the truth, and I'm sticking to it. But what's interesting is reviews are coming out now for the Barbie movie that are referring to all men in the film are either bigots or idiots. Is anybody out there at all surprised by this? Now, I didn't put firecrackers on them. I never did that. G.I. Joes, after I went upstairs at night, they did that. I didn't. Monday evening, 6:15 Barbie review with Sarah Vine. The mother and daughter verdict that every man in this film is a bigot or a loser. My daughter totally loved it. A giant queue of people snaking all around the cinema, past the Lego store, past the lurid M&M shop, all the way to Waldorf Street. I've honestly never seen anything like it. It felt more like a queue for some sellout teeny bopper concert than the press night for the film about a plastic doll. There were security men with wires coming out of the ears, bright pink influencers preening for social media, officials with clipboards handing out embargoes for all of us to sign. A protester with a megaphone was heckling, "Why are you doing this? This is embarrassing. You are women. You should be ashamed of yourself for going to a film like Barbie." Nervous giggles all around. "We're here for work," retorted the woman behind me. "Then get another job," he replied. Touché. Every one of the screens in the place had been commandeered by Barbie. I took my daughter B, who's 20, partly because she nagged me half to death about coming, partly as an unsullied Gen Z counterpart to my grumpy mom stance on Barbie. Despite the tagline, "If you hate Barbie, this film is for you," I didn't really think it was likely to be the target audience, and so it transpired. She loved every second, not me, not so much. My main criticism has nothing to do with the subject matter, Barbie or no Barbie. It's not intrinsically that good a film. It's uneven, disjointed, the plot makes no real sense, and the dead hand of corporate America weighs heavily upon it. For sure, Mattel is significantly superficially mocked in the shape of bumbling CEO and his besuited sidekicks, but the opening scene in which is a group of little girls smash their boring old-fashioned dolls' heads in with alarming aggression at the appearance of their Barbie messiah is actually quite sinister. As an appearance of the ghost of Ruth Handler, Barbie's inventor, it's some sort of godlike figure. My main objection is that Barbie is not really a film about Barbie at all. It's 1 hour and 54 minutes of extended misandry dressed up as a few fun dance routines and one or two, granted, fairly decent jokes. It's a deeply anti-man movie, an extension of all that TikTok feminism that paints any form of masculinity, other than most anodyne, as toxic and predatory, and frames women's liberation as a movement based on achieving equality between men and women, but as cultural revenge vehicle designed to write men out of the history altogether. Every single male character is either an idiot, a bigot, or a sad, rather pathetic loser. If the roles were reversed, a male director made this film about how all women were hysterical, neurotic, gold-digging wenches, it would be denounced, quite rightfully, as deeply offensive and sexist. In a nutshell, Barbie and Ken set off on an adventure to the real world to discover a source of Barbie's sudden and uncharacteristic anxiety. Barbie gets a nasty shock as she's not universally popular as she imagined. Ken, on the other hand, has a tremendous time plugging into the macho culture of LA and discovering that there is such a thing called a patriarchy.
Depends on the where we do it.
He then turns into a, quote,
Most of
real
the time,
man, goes back to Barbie Land,
if it's just a random,
of an
usually it's
incel
not fun.
uprising, quite literally given Ken's lack of tackle,
If it's
and
an injury- if it's an
brainwashes all
injury,
the
you do
Barbies
it
into
at
becoming
clinics,
his
so
willing slaves.
whatever they do.
Strong Andrew Tate vibes, put it that way. Queen Barbie, aka Margot Robbie, must then mobilize a counter-revolution, which she does with the help of her human friends, mother and daughter duo Gloria and Sasha. Using their Barbie wiles, they put the Kens back in their boxes. The film ends with her checking into a gynecology clinic, presumably so she can become a real woman. Don't get me wrong, there are some very fun moments. Weird Barbie, played by actress Kate McKinnon, is a great premise, a sort of wisecracking Barbie savant. Ryan Gosling inhabits the character of Ken with an infectious gusto and just the right amount of tongue-in-cheek campness. And Margot Robbie is, as ever, a joy to watch on the screen, utterly authentic and suitably endearing. We're told that the Barbies were all about empowerment, yet they weaponize their attractiveness in the most unedifying way. When it comes to tricking the Kens, they do it by batting their eyelids like dumb dollies. Everyone mocks the Kens for
No
being
reason.
and impotent, and when they try to be anything else, they get put down. It's all just
I started with Impact
Did it make me
in
love
Toledo,
Barbie? Of course not. Did
as
it
a
make me feel
10,
a little sorry for those who
when they were
subscribe
first
to this
opening the
nonsense,
casino.
and for the young men growing up in a world that
And,
tells
I
them
was a
worthless?
temp there because they were
Yes.
using, especially when they first opened, because you always open with a lot
I
more
mean,
employees.
it's
We're gonna
this is
continue with.
I wanted to give this movie. I wanted to
well,
give this
I
movie
did
the
well.
benefit
I
of the
was
doubt. I really did.
Warehouse manager before.
I was hoping,
and they went to hire me
I was
in,
hoping that it was like actually going to be like just a
Iron
kind of
Box
fun
was no
time, a
nicotine
fun
in it.
ride, and I actually considered seeing this movie because I mean, look,
told him, I
if
said,
you
"Why
grew up
hired it
like
as
I was a
a
'90s
temp?" I
kid.
said,
If you were a
"Nobody
'90s
told me
kid,
this."
you
That's
know
like,
Barbie. You have lots of memories of
You're gonna have
Barbie.
nicotine.
Barbie was everywhere. Every little girl wanted Barbie. Every commercial on Saturday morning
like
cartoons
marijuana does.
was
It's-
GI Joes,
nicotine will stay
Battle
with you for
Sharks,
like 30
Barbies.
days. So
You
I
remember
told
all
them
these
when
things.
they-
So
when
whether
they gave me
you
the paperwork
played
to
with the
go
Barbies or
get
not, you still have
crap,
this
I'm
like
I'm gonna be
nostalgia.
positive nicotine. I'm
Right?
like,
You
I'll
still have
quit
this
if you want me
nostalgia.
to.
Feel the
because it was a good
member
job
berries
they
are
were
extremely
hiring me
strong
in
for
for.
Barbies, even for men.
And they're like, no, just
and
go
it was
do
something
it.
I thought
I'm
I
like,
would go see with my
so we
sister.
did it.
You
Of
know,
course I
like
failed. And
as
they're like,
it's just
well,
a
sorry,
good
we
brother
can't
sister
use you.
thing. We don't really hang out, not for any other reason other than we're both pretty
I
independent.
don't
you
get
know?
it.
They could have just
But
made it. They
not
could have
only
just made
that,
it fun and made the two characters equal.
They wouldn't
and
let me come back
everybody
as a
would
temp
enjoy it.
anymore.
Now the movie comes out in a few days.
I was just like, are you kidding
And it's
me?
going to get trashed.
I said, because I was
You know,
doing
like
so
it's
well that
going
you
to
guys
get
wanted to hire me in.
absolutely dragged
And I told
by,
you ahead
by
of
men
time that
who
it
see
wasn't
it,
a
who
requirement.
review it, who don't hate men. Now, obviously, critics
But I'm well.
hate
I
men.
mean, give me
Even the
30
men
days,
hate the
test
men.
me again,
I
I
suspect
guarantee
Rotten
you, if
Tomatoes
you
will
guys
give
are
this
willing to
movie
hire
an
me, I'll
extremely
quit.
high rating. somewhere in the high 80s or 90s. I would suspect.
So Impact saw I did
just
really
checked
well
it.
at that
I'm
first
right.
assignment I was put in. So they actually
89%.
made me an on-site coordinator.
I couldn't have like segued any better than that. The movie has an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes because, of course, it does.
This part of the job, I've never done it before.
Because it's all about bashing men. That's what
done before. But
that's
I had
great.
pretty good
That's good fodder.
Skills, and
that's
so
it's just more anti-man, anti-male propaganda, and that sucks. It sucks because I don't want to see this.
It was just
I want
funny.
to see the reviews.
I said, "Are you kidding me?" Because I did so well, and you guys wanted to hire me, and you can't use me at all anymore.
It's weird because like
I told
Margot
them that
Robbie
time I
has
was
never
gonna be
really
positive.
been attached to. Why does it take me here? Here, I'll do this. Margot
That's
Robbie
an
has never
HR that
really been
just shoots
attached to like
themselves in the
man
foot
hating,
right there.
as far as I know. I think people have. It went from 89 to 90, so it's got 89. I think it's going to bump to 90.
I mean, it's for the best too.
Here's what Linda Merrick for the Jewish Chronicle writes. It's a film that says girls who love pink can also be feminists. Great. Are we really doing this? I wonder if there's any references
once in a while for like
to the
their free
wage
concerts
gap.
and stuff they do. It's like any other casino.
All of the women in the Barbie world are literally vapid bimbos. Like Barbie maybe scratching at something interesting and satirizing the easy ride mediocre men have in the world. But it's also one of the bigger ironies that it only really comes alive as a movie when Ken gains some agency. Most people say that Ken's the only interesting character. A hamster wheel of relentless identity crisis, musical numbers, tears, tantrums, bland feminist speeches, questionable acting from a huge cast, and Ken.
Then I got the last part. I got to take. Yep. Yeah, we check. We do that, and then we do it in two
Will
phases.
this movie? I don't know how this movie will do in the box office because again, it's Barbie. It's a like any woman from the age of 30 to 70 or 80 will have fond memories of Barbie, and they will likely want to see this movie. It'll be interesting what the actual viewers' reviews say about it, but just another Hollywood movie saying men bad. Who could possibly have been surprised? Definitely not me. And if you're enjoying this coverage, I hope that wherever you're watching it, YouTube, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, that you give this channel a follow, because I'd love to be able to have you find my videos each and every day. It's wild that this is, I saw this coming a mile away. Of course, Barbie used to be everything wrong with patriarchal beauty idols. Feminist professor says now she's closer to queer camp.
Okay. Versus employee correct signing date. I do the bottom here.
Her funny feminist fantasia. Okay, well, we'll see how it does in the movie theaters. I think it will do all right.
Read the rules, sign date.
There's also obviously the trans doctor in the movie. Witch Hunt says this goes out to whoever created the Darth Cortez intro meme. Good work. It's awesome. That is Steven Voiceover. He's often in chat. He is one of my full-time editors. That's what, when you click the join button below the video or you check out one of my sponsors, that's what that money goes towards. Good memes aren't cheap. It's hard up there for a meme him. Yeah, Becky's will love this film 100%. And I think that I'll wait for like Drinker to review it. Like I might still watch it, but I probably won't pay to see it in the theaters. That's like my mini. That's what I'll do like as my mini protests. Like right now, I'm rewatching Severance, and like I could there's so much shows I can watch, so many shows I can watch.
Yeah, we'll see you once we're done.
Okay.
I don't need to rush out to pay $15 in the cinema. That's just me. Did you ever hope, wonder, wish, pray that when you're at the grocery store,
very funny chopper,
you could just scan the item and figure out, hey, is this company donating money to woke causes? Is this company involved in ESG? It's a novel concept. It's something that I actually wholeheartedly support. I know some people say it may be cringe, but if I'm looking at two different manufacturers of flour or paper plates or tomato soup, and I can very easily and quickly scan the two cans and figure out if the particular brand that uses it or that is producing it is woke or not, I think this is great. I think it's an absolute W tool, and it's an app that I'm happy to give a try, and they're not even sponsoring me. You know how I love doing ad reads, and this particular one is going to be very interesting. It'll be interesting to see if the app stores and Google and Android app stores block it, because it will be it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty spicy
when you
offer.
get to, depending on the site you're at, they're on the walls.
I see it as an absolute win.
Yeah.
And by the way, this video is sponsored
just
by
don't waste
Gold Co.
paper for
I'm a proud partner at quarteringgold.com. Up until now, the digital dollar, or the CBDC, has been nothing but a headline. But right now, things are developing at a rapid pace. It starts with a sweeping executive order from the Biden administration, and now central banks are even hiring for their development.
Safe anymore.
Here's the thing.
I get a warning
the digital
every
dollar
month
can
that
be used
my
to track your
data
purchases,
may have been
control what you buy,
breached,
and even
whatever
seize or
company
freeze
said.
your assets. That's why it's critical. You protect your money, your retirements, with precious metals like gold and silver. I've partnered with
And if
a
you want to use
top-rated
any
precious
app,
metals company,
you got to
Gold
give
Co,
them
because
permission
they're a
to
great
know
company
everything.
with an amazing reputation. Right now, they're giving away up to
Everyone flips out
$10,000 in
about
free
TikTok
silver
and
while
stuff like
supplies
that.
last.
They don't realize
Plus,
that absolutely
all qualified
every app you
callers
have on
this
your phone
week
is
will
doing
receive
the
a
exact
free
same
Ronald Reagan silver
They're
coin.
just not doing it for the Chinese.
Don't wait
They're
till
just
all of
doing
your
it
money
for
is under Biden's
other
control. Go to
companies.
quarteringgold.com, link in the description. Go to quarteringgold.com to learn how you could get started today. Now, the app itself, Woke Busting app, allows shoppers to scan grocery items so they don't buy from brands owned or run by bleeding heart liberals. A new app allows shoppers to scan items in a grocery store to check if the brand supports woke values. Veebs, a free app in the App Store, says it has brands that align to your personal value setting and offers replacement suggestions for ones that don't. A TikTok video advertising the new software shows a blonde woman in a floral dress saying the best way to fight against these woke brands is with our wallets. Hey, I totally agree. That's why I use the Veebs app when I use my grocery shop, when I do my grocery shopping. The app comes as a once popular beer company. Bud Light continues to face boycott in April. We already know. So here's a screenshot of Veebs. So it looks like you scan parent, Walmart, brand, great value. This is actually really helpful. So they scan, it looks like they scan some great value item, which is the generic brand for Walmart. So it says, okay, that's who owns it, Walmart. It's Asian cuisine, subcategory coconut milk. And it'll show, preferred, not preferred, their V score, which is their woke score rating fair. In the video posted by Who Cares on Monday, she could be seen walking through the frozen section of a grocery store. At first, she picks up Ben & Jerry's ice cream pint, which she scans with her phone. Okay, this has a very poor rating, so you're definitely going to be putting it back, the influencer says. But look at all the other ice creams in this store. They have great ratings. We have Bluebell, we have Dryers, Tillamook, Blue Bunny, Halo Top, even Baskin Robbins. So let's go pick up some ice cream that supports our values. I think this is great. I wouldn't have called it a V score, though. I would have called it Wokometer, the woke meter, or something like that. I'm so glad someone came up with this app. Says at the video ends, it makes value-based shopping so simple. On the App Store, Veebs currently is a 4.4 out of 5, with one woman writing, I'm a conservative mama bear, and I've been looking for something like this for a few years now. All I can say is bless you, Veebs. To all the companies shoving their ideas on me and my family, goodbye. Another user also commented, I can't believe someone finally built this. Ben & Jerry's has a 20, so I think the higher score, the better. I think a high score is good, a low score is bad. So it looks like Ben & Jerry's has a 20% rating poor. And it shows other options. This is actually genius. Bluebell has an 89, I can see. 7 Select has some sort of 80 score. So it shows you brands that aren't woke, that aren't garbage. By the way, yeah, good question out there. The question is, has Ben & Jerry's given back their land yet? I just don't think they have. I think that they've pretty much tucked and run from that. It's pretty interesting to me. I think that it's a fair question. It's a fair question. Exactly. Just how companies align before you give them your money. And I think ultimately, man, they should have paid me some advertising. I definitely could have sold a lot of. Let me know how it works if you try it. Anyway, the new app comes a mix of conservative boycott of Bud Light, which has been struggling to regain its footing in American culture since its April partnership with Mulvaney sparked a decline in sales, costing its parent company $22 billion. The posts include, obviously, we know everything about Bud Light and how that works and all the various, backlash to that. I do think that when you can, you buy local. I think that is generally what I would suggest. So if we look at the app, it's value-based shopping. What brands do you buy do the brands you buy stand for what you stand for? It says consumers have more choices than ever, both in where they shop, but also in what they shop. Consumers have many. This is genius. This app's going to be super popular. By the way, what's genius about this is you should be able to they'll probably be able to use this for both woke companies and non-woke companies, right? The same technology could be used, remarketed, right? You develop the app once for conservatives, then you just give the inverse score. Instead of calling it Veebs, you call it Neebs, and then you have it say, oh, if it's a 20% on Veebs saying it's woke trash, well, it's actually an 80% on the other app, and you sell it to both people. It's so wild. And it doesn't really say anything, by the way, on here about whether or not it's woke or not. And it doesn't say how their Veebs score. It says Veebs has brands that align with your personal value settings. So you can actually set that inside the app and probably figure out exactly, what it is. The media is, of course, very upset about it. Oh, you have to pay 99 cents a month. Okay. Veebs, there's an app for partisan shopping. Well, if this was pushing like leftist ideologies, there would be a million articles about how awesome it is and how you can totally stick it to the man. Because now you can see if they donated money to Republicans or something like that. Yeah, I think it probably does do both. I'm almost certain it does both. So if we go to blog, apps, function, let's focus on the attention of the back of the Veebs itself and describe the key functions. So yeah, you can do both. So it's not just necessarily for woke people. In blog post 1, we laid out the mission. Blog post 2, we described out our V-score. So if we look at the V-score system, in order to bring value-based shopping to life, there needs to be an easy way to understand scoring system that displays 1 to 100 score for every brand product you search for the app. The scoring methodology used by the app to produce the V-score is a complex calculation that takes into consideration many factors about a particular brand, some objective, some subjective. In many ways, the V-score is similar to the way we all have our FICO credit score calculated for a handful of credit bureaus. V-scores are no different, like a financial credit score for companies that are comprised. V-scores are calculated in real time. So it looks like you can do both. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Here you have the value packs. You can choose liberal. You can choose conservative. You can choose climate emergency. You can choose brands that support veterans, social justice, America first, LGBTQIA. Yeah, so it does do both. It's still genius. It's still genius to be able to filter out woke crap. How they actually score it, whether or not it's woke, how much they support veterans. That probably needs to be more transparent. But it's also pretty interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see how it rates out and how it proliferates out there.
You can use the same.
Yeah. That's a weird one.
No.
That's an odd one. I'm thinking that.
What's the point of having different colors
cool.
if you could? Yeah.
I think that there'll be one particular group.
I think some of them get people because they're like, wait,
in now and you're enjoying the show. Please do create an account, get involved in chat. I want to have one of the most thriving chat communities out there.
Like the one about
and also make sure.
Oh, you haven't gotten that one yet.
That you leave a like on the video.
We'll see it.
It requires a phone number. Looks like a personal information mining app. Can people just use like Google numbers? Raven Black Dove says, yeah, the requiring my phone number to create an account is a hard pass for me. I get enough spam phone calls without Veebs helping them. Dudes, I don't know how many of you are old heads like me, but there was a golden era, friends. There was a golden era that lasted more than 10 years for cell phone users when, first of all, nobody called you who didn't have your number. Nobody called you who you didn't want to call you. You never got text messages from people that you didn't know or that you didn't want texting you. Now it's like almost at least a fifth of the text messages I get are another scam. It was so great. It was so great. Everything about those days. And now you can't even block them. The best you can do is like Verizon will say, oh, this number has been reported as spam. So what? They still trick you by it being a local number. And you're always like, oh man, is a family member in the hospital? Is something going on? I need to know. I don't know. Pagers were nice. things still heating up for Disney. Yesterday, I reported on essentially Disney's ongoing financial problems. The fact that the entire company was for sale indirectly, that it was reported that the entire company was for sale. And if we look at the last month of their stock, that their stock had hit they were a 1 year low, hit a 1 year low 2 days ago. And then today it's up a little bit, but the day is still young. So it could give that back. The fact that Disney Plus, a massive cash burning app where they are losing millions and millions and millions of paid subscribers every quarter. And the number of people that are unsubscribing, the number of people is actually increasing. So the rate at which Disney Plus is losing paying subscribers is increasing. That's a direct relation too, obviously.
My mother-in-law has like 20 apples in her backyard
that Disney puts out.
Trees.
People will pay for content. People will happily pay for content as long as that content is good and they find value in it. But now in 2023, things are not as free-flowing cash-wise as they were a few years ago.
Cutting her grass, so
people are more educated on where they're spending their money. So there's been lots of moms, dads, parents, single people who don't want to give Disney money for their woke programming, so they unsubscribe from Disney Plus. Those same people also stop going to the Disney park. I mean, if I told you, which is 100% true fact, that in the weeks, the lines at Disney right now in peak season are shorter than they were 2 weeks after the COOF lockdowns. Who would have ever predicted that? They're almost half as long. That's how few people are going to Disney. Now, it has something to do with them charging something like $200 a person. That's not irrelevant. But it also has a lot to do with the political mess that Disney has put itself in. When you think of Disney now, you used to think about fun. You used to think about, fun movies, family-friendly, this, that, and the other thing. Now you're like, oh, Disney? Yeah, the ones that got rid of the dwarves and the Snow White and called them magical creatures, and the ones that made Snow White Latino to prove a point. And there is that rhetoric. There is a point going out there. I think Matt Walsh made it, and he's correct, that Disney treats whiteness of their characters as something that is inherently problematic, that is inherently something that needs to be changed, updated, or reimagined. That's how Disney views whiteness in their characters. They remove Prince Charming from the Snow White story altogether. Why? Strong, independent women don't need no man. Fine. Okay. But when all these women grow up single and eggless, and they look back at all this feminist messaging, they're going to be the ones to blame. I mean, that's just the truth of it. I'm not saying that there's anything inherently wrong with being single or childless, but I'm saying that preaching this kind of stuff is going to lead to even more of that. I mean, just look at the number of single men now. The number of single high-earning men right now feels higher than it's ever been because they're literally just checking out of the dating scene. Why do you think that is? And it's obvious to me. And then there's going to be this whole generation of women who hit their mid-40s and have been single their whole life, and they've constantly posted about how amazing it is that they don't have kids, and they have these funny little names for people like what are they called? Dark dorps or whatever, dual income, no kids, dinks. It's all a cope. Bob Iger sets off-site meeting to calm high anxiety after saying TV may not be the core to Disney anymore. Bob Iger spoke at an off-site meeting with senior TV leaders to calm high anxiety among thousands of employees after saying last week that linear television may not be core to Disney's businesses. The off-site meeting was held yesterday, according to a reliable sources newsletter, citing people who attend. An individual with knowledge told The Wrap that the meeting hosted by Disney Entertainment co-chair Dana Walden had been planned for weeks and that Iger had always planned to attend. The return CEO's comments made in a candid interview last week with David Faber naturally set off alarm bells inside of Disney's general entertainment content division of the Magic Kingdom that houses its linear businesses and operates as quintessential broadcast and cable networks such as ABC, the Disney Channel, National Geographic, FX, and FX. CNN reporter Oliver Darcy wrote. People familiar with the matter told Darcy that thousands of employees have been experiencing high anxiety. Sources noted to me, with them adding that Iger had effectively left staff in the dark by not communicating directly since the stunning interview. There have been no company-wide memos, no town halls, nothing but silence since Iger jolted.
Nothing they can follow. We don't care where the piercings are as long as they're under your clothes.
To calm those nerves,
if you have
Iger fielded questions submitted by the
they can end up in the product.
Iger told the gathering that linear TV is incredibly valuable to our business. Yeah, right. He said he meant what he said. It's like when somebody who's like drunk, whatever, says something and people always want to make excuses for it. Well, the reality is usually a drunk person will speak a sober mind. Disney faces several concerning trends that are making one analyst, quote, more nervous. The entertainment giant is in the midst of cost-cutting push, but it can only help so much, according to Nolan. His list of concerning revenue trends is growing, and he thinks those dynamics could weigh on Disney's narrative going forward. Nolan downgraded Disney stock from neutral from outperform back in May, setting a litany of concerns from which seem to get to the core of Disney's identity. For example, he flagged Disney will have a rough road ahead of once it inevitably tries to turn ESPN into a standalone streaming service. But then there's some near-term revenue trends that have him feeling more nervous. Nolan has already anticipated the slowdown in parks growth, but has now highlighted a Wall Street Journal report indicating that Walt Disney World had one of its slowest 4th of July weekends in 10 years. One of its slowest 4th of July weekends in 10 years. The parks dynamic is potentially worrisome for the current quarter. While the July 4th period won't affect the results, Disney is due to report August 9th, and it may represent similarly softening trends before that. Additionally, he flagged weak box office performance after Elemental struggled and the new Indiana Jones movie logged only a modest debut. Content production has now halted, the WGA writers and the actors strike threatening production plans until resolved, he wrote. Disney also faces challenges in legacy media as extensive cord cutting weighs on the company's traditional pay TV models. Linear TV ad sales do not appear to be improving in the United States or international. They're talking about like paid cable TV, linear TV. And ABC saw one of the fewer NBA Finals games last year versus last, Nolan said in the latest report. The company's expense reduction efforts could offer a cushion to profits in this view, but these top-line issues are concerning. Essentially, you can cut all the cost. You can cut all the costs you want, but eventually you have to make money again. And Disney's not doing that. I mean, if you look at, here's an article. Disney's Indiana Jones 5 took in $300 million at the box office so far. A disaster for CEO Bob Iger and Lucasfilm. Dial of Destiny could end up with just half of the earnings of its panned predecessor earned 15 years ago, and rival John Carter as Disney's biggest box office bomb. I mean, every movie they're putting out is losing hundreds of millions of dollars. That's not getting fixed. Do you think that people are going to get more or less likely to continue to support Disney and Hollywood? I mean, this is a disaster. And they spent all this money. It's $302 million global take now has only matched roughly the reported costs of the production budget, which suffered from expensive refilming and test screenings indicated audiences were less than thrilled. Marketing and promotion are expected to have added easily another $100 million.
Okay, you're calling me on a different line now.
They have lost. They will lose.
Okay, it's forwarded from
so the movie needs to make
$800
to $900 million just to break even.
Somebody must have had my number spoofed.
This movie
it happens all the time to me. People spoof numbers.
$300 million. Imagine being like Kathleen
well, I live
Kennedy
on
still having a job.
outside of Toledo, but yeah,
I don't
a lot
even
of times,
understand how it's
literally,
possible.
I don't know what's been the deal over the last month, but
I don't understand how this woman still has a job. How Bob Iger even has a job.
No worries, brother. No worries.
It's absolute insanity, and I absolutely love to see it. Absolutely love it. They deserve this. They asked for this. They spat in the fans' eyes. They spat in the fans' faces. They destroyed all our beloved characters to replace them with strong, independent women who don't need no man or they, thems. And this is what they get. Where are all the they, thems showing up to support these movies? They don't want to see it either. Now, this might be my favorite story of the day. Honestly, this might be my favorite story of the day. Now, I know I've talked about other times that men in particular seem to be opting out of the dating scene. I've talked about at length how AI is likely to disrupt a lot of things. We see the Hollywood writer's strike primarily because they're afraid that they're going to be replaced by AI. We've seen other mentions like G&O Media, which owns Kotaku, Gizmodo, and all these other websites, replace their writers with AI. Now, it's not going very well yet, but it will get better. And now, how does AI affect the dating scene? Well, it's going to offer people who have opted out of the dating scene a very real option. And now the former chief of Google says that AI is going to soon be deployed in love dolls to bring them to life and warns that it will redesign love and relationships. Well, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that this is happening. And this is the end game, right? Keep us all alone and consuming. I can't think of that movie where people just sat in their apartments all day and like connected to whatever. It's not Ready Player One. It was some other movie where everyone just got fat and consumed and was that's the end goal for a lot of these corporations. And love dolls are exactly the way to do that. Oh, you don't want to spend time with a wife. You could just get a doll that has AI, which is going to bring up a lot of interesting things. If you've ever seen the movie, I believe it was called Ex Machina. The original movie I might have been thinking of was Surrogates, but then I'm also thinking of Ex Machina, where they had basically, was that the movie where they just had hookup dolls, and then the dolls were like, wait a minute here. It's wild. And this is the thing about AI. Like, I'm not trying to sound the alarm, I'm not trying to, but AI is coming hard and it's coming fast, and we're not ready for it. And it's not a cute movie like WALL-E. It's far, far worse than that. And you're going to end up with men and women opting for these dolls. Mark my word. Like, I'm not talking 20 years from now, friends. I'm talking 2 years from now. Maybe. There's going to be there's already these AI. There was an AI girlfriend that talked somebody into trying to take a crossbow and go after the queen. Advances in artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and augmented reality risk creating a very significant redesign of love and relationships, according to one former Google exec. Quote, let's just say this is a very significant redesign of society, said Mo Gaudat, the former chief business officer at Google's secretive R&D wing, Google X. The convergence of these technologies, Gaudat explained on a recent podcast interview, may lead to these pleasure dolls that seem to be alive, or dating apps filled with AI avatars. Well, I know this. I don't know if I know females in this space, even like in the commentary space. Sydney, even my business partner, has been approached by these companies that are like, "Hey, we'll create," and I've had emails from them too, but I assume this is more popular for pretty girls. But hey, we'll create an AI of you that your viewers can chat with, and then you can charge them for it. It's like, I don't want to do that. I'd rather you just join me on Locals or subscribe to me on Twitter. Then you can talk to me directly. By the way, I didn't even really know about all the features of Twitter subscribers, but if you actually follow me, if you subscribe to me on Twitter, I see all of your replies directly, and all of your replies are under a separate tab, and I also follow back all of the people that subscribe to me. You don't have to, but I can tell you this much: if you subscribe to me on Twitter, then I see your tweets and I see your replies every single time. That doesn't mean I'll reply every time, but I always see them because I always sort by that tab first. And same with Locals. I prefer that. I prefer to invest my time with my viewers than have some AI do that for me. Speaking on the YouTube channel for the show Impact Theory, Gaudat pointed out that the technologists, policymakers, and societies at large focus too tightly on philosophical questions that big business interests will not. We get lost in these conversations of, are they alive? Are they sentient? He said, doesn't matter. If my brain believes they are, they are. That's true. Just think about all the illusions that we're now unable to decipher. Well, look at the clown world. Does it really matter if the Morgan Freeman talking to you on the screen is actually Morgan Freeman or an AI-generated avatar? If you're convinced it's Morgan Freeman, then it is. And I'd agree with that. I actually agree with that too. He unpacked for the show and their listeners the biochemistry of how this kind of hookup registers inside the human brain, suggesting that the physical side of human intimacy would be extremely easy to simulate with today's technology. Some people might only need Apple Vision Pro or MetaQuest 3 virtual reality headset to experience a satisfying experience. If we can convince you that this hookup robot is alive, or that the experience in a virtual reality headset or an augmented reality headset is alive, it's real, then there you go. I mean, I don't know. I've seen all those banana washer tools floating around. I assume they're getting far more complex. I've seen where AI is. I've seen where virtual reality is, and I've seen where that combination, that combination of the two meet. And I would 100% believe that within 10 years, there will be people just opting for that. Just like we can simulate very, very easily how to move muscles, There are so many ways you can copy the brain signals that would move your hand in a certain way that would just give it back to you, to your hand, and move it the same way. Envisioning the future of dating apps, businesses under these circumstances, he drew comparisons to the AI chatbot app Replica, which learns its users' texting style to further mimic and bond with them. There are 2 million people on Replica, and it's because there's money in it. And what would prevent the next dating app from giving you avatars today, he asked. A lot of people will try it. I'm telling you right now, it's not that just that a lot of people will try it. It's that a lot of people will do it and be addicted to it and have multiple partners. There will be people who have 5 of these dolls and 5 different phones and 5 different women keeping him busy throughout the day. It's not necessarily our generation, but the generations behind ours that will grow up with this technology existing and be normalized. It's been normalized. All these shows say, hey, look at this person. He's married to a love doll. Isn't that interesting and funny and kind of, normalizing this stuff? I think that, this is definitely a dangerous path to be heading. But it's going to deny its existence, to deny that it would be wildly popular is foolish. I think that it's going to be extremely popular, and I don't think it's a good thing for humans to replace other humans with artificial intelligence. I think there are good uses of it, but it won't be used that way. It will be used in good cases very rarely, and in most cases it will be used for like degeneracy or to replace other human contact. And I just don't think that's actually any good. That's just my opinion. It'll be interesting to see what all the comments are on this and how everything develops, but yikes. I think that a lot of dudes are going to have these dolls and have sex with them regularly and really believe they're in a real relationship. That's what makes me so scared, chat. Japan's a great example. Yeah. Japan's a great example. Yeah, her with Joaquin Phoenix. Like, I'm telling you that this stuff will be extremely popular. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. It's just the truth. Women are going to get screwed over by this so hard. Like, guys are just look at the dating scene out there. If I was single in my 40s and I had plenty of money and I had all my hobbies and stuff like that, and I could accurately replace, the physical part of sex without getting like a disease and all this kind of stuff. Like, I'm just saying, I'd be thinking about it. AI is a very bad idea, having these people watch the Terminator. Yeah, I know, exactly. I don't think it'll happen in my lifetime, but yikes. Like, I just think that, and by the way, when I say women, I don't mean like just the annoying feminist ones. I'm talking about just good-hearted women. Men are going to self-select out of the dating market and fuck dolls. That's what they're going to do. And a lot of them are, I'm telling you. Because it's already destigmatized. Guys are going to say stuff like, what do I care? I've got my boat. I've got my fishing buddies. I've got my beer. I've got my house, an ATV. What do I need it for? This thing's just as good. Doesn't nag me. Doesn't tell me I got home late. Doesn't tell me I need to take a shower. Put on these goggles once or twice a week. Have this immersive experience. Guys are going to do that because guys are more, when you're talking about men and sex, it's about the physical. Most guys, I've always told women this and it like blows their mind, but I stand by it. Like, most guys would have sex with almost any woman imaginable if they knew no one would find out. Now, I'm not talking about underage or some 100-year-old woman. I'm talking like these guys in the bar will call some girl ugly, but I guarantee you they would sleep with them given the chance if they knew no one would find out. That's how men are. Men love poontang. Now, they are not incapable of emotional connection. There are certainly women like that too. But when women are out there looking for D, right? When women are looking for D, they view that D as an emotional connection. Somebody likes me. Somebody wants to spend time with me. And they'll seek it that way. But men are gross. I've seen way too many of my buddies hook up with somebody they called a disgusting blob just the week before.
Hey, Ronnie, it's Norm. In fact, yeah, I was
Again,
just
I'm not
waiting for
saying
you.
all,
Let me know
hashtag
when
not
you're
all
ready.
men, hashtag not
And,
all women.
Once you had boots and stuff and we're ready to work.
But I'm telling you, if a guy
Come on.
says I won't sleep
Get
with
back
anything
to
but a
the plumber.
7, that means he'll sleep with a 4 as long as you don't find
Okay.
out. I'll put it that way. Maybe even a
First
3.
shift starts at 14, but plus they hit. But they do have the.
Why buy an expensive
First
doll when you
attendance
can just get a
bonus,
hole?
$1.
Well, that I'm saying is like, I think that women are the same way. Yes, women are the same way. But
It's
when
on
they're
telegraph, yes.
when women go when a woman is whoring around, just like a man whores around, okay? That term applies to both.
Yeah, I mean,
when a
they
woman
have
is
to be
whoring
filter
around,
or
it's generally
composite
not
tone.
driven by I just want to get my dick wet energy like men. It's more like I'm emotionally damaged and I'm looking for
Well, just let me know when
someone
you-
to show me attention, and sex is the way I perceive that.
Because your case wasn't
Men-
Monroe.
Men are just dogs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
You
if
know?
you can get that switched over, she'd be able to help you.
That's I just think,
Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay. All right. Well, just let me know when you're ready, and we can set you up with a start date. Okay.
it's just the way it is. Now there are some
All
people
right,
that
I
are
just
just
got your email. That's why
untouchable, right, or
I was
whatever.
like, wait, I have
you
this
know?
folder ready.
But
Yeah.
it's just the truth. And that's
You
why
just
these
replied to
AI
me
sex
5 minutes
bots
ago.
are gonna
Hi,
they're gonna
I
take
recently
15% of
submitted my
the
applications. Let me know if you need
15% of
anything else from
the
me at this point.
they're gonna take 15% of the men out of the dating pool like that. I'm telling you, once they're there, which won't be that long, it'll be like a year from now.
Yeah, just reach
they'll
out.
take
You can call
1%.
or email.
By
either
the time
one.
they're perfected, they'll take 15% of the men out of the dating pool. And a lot of them will be high value men.
He thinks he's going to keep asking me the same
A
question.
lot of them
and
will be
eventually
men
I'm
who are
gonna give him a
divorced, who
different
still have
answer.
good jobs, or who have,
Yeah, dude, you need to have
who
the
are
votes.
still single but have good jobs, good earning potential, and they've self-selected out of the dating pool. This will make it so much easier for MGTOW. Like everyone's familiar with MGTOW, right?
It's either
men going their own way. Now that
You can
movement
return
does
before
have an
24
element
hours,
to it of hating women that I
if
don't
you have
like.
a doctor's note,
There are
or wait
people in that
24
movement
hours.
that
So it's either.
just are aggressively hate all women because the last woman they married screwed them over. But there's a lot of people in MGTOW, the overwhelming member of people that may not self-identify as MGTOW, who are good men, who have good jobs, and just aged out of the dating scene, because that happens.
That's both.
Right? You age
Yeah,
out of the
the
dating
last
scene,
one was
when you're
both.
33, 34, 35, nobody wants to be dating anymore. They go to work, they have hobbies, they have a ton of cash, so they can go on vacations, and they're going to buy sex bots. I'm telling you.
Well, you're good.
I'm 100% sure about it.
Oh, you have an appointment?
Yeah, at 3:45. It only takes 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Here it only takes me like 15 minutes.
Okay. All right. Well, let me run you up to him real quick.
Just my opinion.
It shouldn't take long. If you can
My 100% correct opinion.
let me know how it goes. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And you said you had your own direct deposit you wanted to use?
Yes.
Okay. I'll send you an email.
Okay. I was going to say I didn't see it on the form. Fill it out.
Hey, I didn't know if you guys knew this, but I have a coffee company. Did you guys know that I have a coffee company? Did anybody here know that I have a coffee company? I don't know if you knew that, but it's called Coffee Brand Coffee, and I have a 10% off sale Flavor Burst right now, celebrating a massive rollout of new coffee flavors, all available in whole bean and ground. We have our signature flavors, our signature roasts, non-flavored coffee, our Ethiopian, our Colombian, our dark roast. But now we have Rocky Road, s'mores, bourbon, peaches and cream, hazelnut, orange creamsicle. We have our cold
Use my
bundles,
code,
which are
inDOCtriNATION.
super tasty.
It's a big discount.
We have our number one flavor, the blueberry cobbler,
You
now
will
available
cut.
in K-cups. I have more options than most coffee companies now, and it's all me. I don't drop. This isn't drop shipped. I personally pick out every flavor: hazelnut churro, blackberry cream, blueberry cobbler, maple pecan, sticky pecan, French hill, salted caramel, strawberries and cream, double caffeinated. We even have decaf. We have K-cups. Coffeebrandcoffee.com. All I ask, once a stream, maybe sometimes twice. Head on over to coffeebrandcoffee.com at some point today. Check out the reviews. Just check out the reviews. I have 5,140 reviews with an average review score of 4.8 out of 5. This is a real passion of mine. We have over 50,000 customers. And I hope that you'll give us a try today. What's everybody got going on the rest of the week? Maverick, yeah, that's right. I don't do gimmick flavors, so I don't do like, you know, I don't do the liberal tier stuff. I want my brand to exist, to thrive beyond, you know, beyond politics, you know. You know, remember that company Coffee Coffee? Like, who buys that anymore these days? Or liberal tiers coffee? I just don't think that has any staying power. And remember, everyone, that's right, Russ. Remember, all I'm asking if one of you wins a Powerball is to just peel me off a cool milli. That's it. You're going to have 550 million. Peel me off a mill, and whatever you do after if you win the lottery is get out of town. Leave everything behind that you don't need to live for a week or two. Leave town when you win and never go back. Move to a place where nobody knows you and nobody will swindle you out of your money. That's my $1 million in advice. That's my fee. If you win tonight, don't tell anyone. Unless you want to tell your wife or whatever. Don't tell anybody. Get you know, hire a financial advisor, lawyer, get out of town and never go back. Period. Sorry, your family, your extended family, your friends, you got to move away. Can't do it. If you do it, it will cost you everything. Just look at all the people. There is an immense amount of people that go bankrupt after winning the lottery. Somebody won it twice and went bankrupt twice. You go, you take out whatever, you get as much cash as you can without, you know, and then you go and hide for a couple months. Go stay in Vegas on the top floor or some, you know, whatever. Don't tell anyone, not even your family. Don't tell your friends. You start a new life. That's what happens. Because if you let all those people around you, they will take your money. They will take your money. Everyone will. Everyone's going to come to you with business investment. You don't need to invest it. You're rich. You have $400 million. What's your best cold brew? I would get the flavor sampler, to be honest with you. But if you don't like flavor, then probably the Ethiopian. Stay away from everybody you know. You have a new life. It's a witness protection program. And I promise your money will last forever. Fee, $1 million. Buy your own island, fill it with whatever the hell you want. So your message is money is more important than family. No, my message is go get yourself right. Okay? Get yourself right. And then you can go help your family, you know? And you can go help your family. You send them money, whatever. But if you keep all those people around, not your family necessarily, but your friends and extended family, they're going to take all of your money. Or you don't have to follow my plan. You don't have to. You don't have to follow my plan. It's okay. I'll take. Okay, maybe. Okay. Get a little bit of money once and see how many family members come crawling out of the woodwork. Anyway. Here's an interesting story about AI. A million in a Rumble rant would be okay. Yeah, that'd be fine. I think the max you could do is 500, so you'd have to do 200,500. No, wait, 20,500. Sounds like winning 2 lotteries. Remember, now I'm an old man, you know.
And I went there, and they said, like, I walked in, like, to make.
Here's an interesting story. You know, AI is dominating a lot of the headlines lately, but have you thought about how AI is affecting your how AI is affecting your gaming journalists, your favorite gaming journalists? You know, have you thought about how AI is going to ruin their lives? How AI is going to make them obsolete? Who else will tell you about fictional Pokemon sleeping together, or how Metroid Prime or the new the new World of Warcraft expansion is really a commentary on Trump. How will you live your life without them? Well, we're starting to get some idea. GNO Media publishes error-riddled AI-written stories despite employee outcry over computer-generated garbage. Now, GNO Media owns like video game outlets like Kotaku. They own like a feminist website, Jezebel. They own a auto website. They own a bunch of them. A media company that runs several sites, including Jezebel, The Onion, and Gizmodo, is publishing mistake-ridden stories written by AI bots despite an outcry from staff over what they slammed as computer-generated garbage. Sorry, journos, you're done. In 2 or 3 years, 80% of the articles you're going to read online, I'm just making up this number, obviously, will be AI generated. If you're an editor, editors will be fine. They'll have someone generate 100 AI articles, and they'll have like 3 or 4 real people, real human editors, and that'll be it. GNO Media heads are doubling down on their eyebrow-raising practice and plan to publish additional AI-written articles soon, according to an internal memo obtained by Vox. All of these journals that make $100 grand a year to do nothing and add nothing to society are absolutely freaking out right now. Maybe they should learn to code. The machine-generated stories first appeared on multiple GNO sites earlier this month with bylines like, by Gizmodo bot. One such story, a chronological list of Star Wars movies and shows published on Gizmodo, contained more than a dozen errors, including some items that were not even in the correct order. Editors and reporters did not see the articles before they went live and were notified that the content would be published hours before it went online. Well, do you know what the _1 expense is for a website like Kotaku or, Vox or The Verge or any of these, it's human capital. It's the salary you have to pay for these people. So what they're going to find out very, very quickly, is that a staff of 50 writers can be replaced by AI and 4 editors. You could pay those editors $200 grand a year and shave, I don't know, $10 million in salary. Whatever the case is. They're so easily replaced. Editors and reporters. So GNO Media's editorial director Meryl Brown told employees that the AI content would not replace the work being done by the writers and editors. Admitted that there will be errors, according to the newspaper. Hello, McFly. It's like training your replacement. Have you ever worked at a company and had that happen or seen that happen to somebody? Oh, this is just a new management trainee. We're going to be having 4 managers. Or, hey, you've got 8 years seniority here at Subway, and we're paying you more than we think we should. So can you train this 14-year-old that we pay $6.25 an hour, and then suddenly you get fired? This is a practice as old as time. Making people, the humiliation ritual of making people train their replacements. He further told staffers that AI bots alone currently are not factually reliable and consistent in another company memo seen by Vox. Editorial team, I'm writing to advise you of a new content feature. They'll be added to the mix at GNO Publications. It shouldn't be a surprise that we've done a significant amount of thinking about artificial intelligence, just as everyone in the media business has been doing of late. We're convinced that the changes AI will bring to the media and journalism worlds will be meaningful, if difficult to predict in certainty in 2023. They're just getting replaced. I mean, you might think this will pave the way for gross misquotes and misreporting, but I ask you this, my friends, how is that different than the current corporate press? How is an AI bot misquoting me any different than some woke SJW doing it? It's not. And guess what? The other one's free. The union representing GNO employees quickly bashed the leadership's decision. The hard work of journalists cannot be replaced by the unreliable AI programs notorious for creating falsehoods. I'm sorry. Are we talking about AI still, or are we talking about the corporate press? Are we just talking about, because the corporate press, their literal modus operandi is to fabricate lies. I don't trust AI any less than I trust Brian Stelter. Is that, you know what I mean? Do I think that AI is any worse? Maybe. But if it means a bunch of smear artist journals lose their jobs, I think that's hilarious. I don't shed a tear for it. Learn to code. Go work in the coal mines. GMG Union wrote in a statement, our newsrooms have spent decades building trust with audience. Oh yeah. In a year of 2023, when trust in journalism is by far the worst it's ever been. introduce computer-generated garbage that undermines our ability to do our jobs, erodes trust in us and journalists, damages our brands, and threatens our jobs. Are you joking? You don't think, I mean, do people not think that the owner of Gizmodo and any one of these websites, journalistic websites, you don't think they know that trust in journalists is at an all-time low? They know that. They know that. So if they're not going to trust you, why would they be spending all of that money on you? The new modern reporter who is trusted is like somebody who has Substacks or somebody that does YouTube videos. That's who people trust now. They don't trust these people who write articles for Kotaku. Other news sites that tried out AI written content, including CNET, BuzzFeed, quickly abandoned the experiment after the stories are full of errors and inaccuracies. Here's the thing. That's probably true, but actual AI replacement of journalists is closer than people think. They will be replaced by AI bots, especially for like just breaking news coverage. Oh, just create a bot that follows the AP news on Twitter, and then that's how all content's going to be. Someday it's going to be a bot generates a piece of content, then another bot generates a piece of content off that content, then another bot generates a piece of content off that content that was created off a different piece of content, and that's how it's going to go. Is it really any different than NPC's journalists doing it? I actually don't think so. I actually don't think that there are very many real investigative journalists left anymore. There used to be actual honor and good paychecks from being a local, like your local city or town used to have a journalist. Most of them don't now. But you would get actual articles about what was going on in your city. That nobody even does that job anymore. Nobody valued it enough to continue to pay for the papers, and so that job died. Nobody values anything but rage bait and clickbait on the internet. That's the only way you get clicks. That's why Kotaku doesn't get any clicks on their articles when they review a video game, but they get clicks on top 10 Zelda characters that you didn't know was actually gay, because it just creates outrage clicks. And that's the only way they can make money. So why wouldn't you just generate outrage content with bots? I 100% understand exactly what these CEOs and owners are doing, and I 1,000% believe it's not going anywhere. It's staying forever. Because there are so few true journalists that they're so super easily replaced. I resigned from Microsoft 5 years ago. They told me to be fired if you don't take the jab. Yeah. A lot of people got forced into that. It's bologna sausage. So today, Wednesday, was a great show. Very, very great show. I hope that you guys are enjoying the work that I'm doing here. Each week, I'm going to try to do a little bit better. I've been trying to get a guest for Friday. The first couple people I asked are busy, so I'm going to continue to find that, and to find someone to do that. And after the show here, I'm going to go take a shower or work out and take a shower, and then come right back up to the office and publish all the standalone videos. I've got 4, and if you're enjoying the show, please create a Rumble account and click the follow button down below. We've got 142,000 of you, which I'm really, really thankful for. And if you haven't yet, please do leave a like on the video. And, as a final way to support, if you want, it's not required, you can click the join button. It's $5 a month. It gives you access to exclusive content and helps support us monthly with the expenses, meme editors, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you check out quarteringgold.com. Secure your long-term investments, secure your retirement, protect yourself, and we'll see you same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow.
To try to hit a true 5th-generation fighter such as the F-35, the S-400's radar would have to see it first. The S-400's radar is not state-of-the-art. The diagram above shows the distance-top radars would be able to see several current aircraft. A current true 5th-generation fighter has a radar cross-section smaller than 0.001 square meters. That's little bigger than a bird, with which it would be easy to be confused. After seeing the F-35, the S-400's radar would have to keep tracking. Unlikely, as the aircraft is flying away fast. In practice, any F-35 would avoid getting near any radar missile site. That would demand the defender to have its radars spaced only 40 miles apart to be able to spot a F-35 before it flew away. To try to hit a true fifth-generation fighter such as the F-35, the S-400's radar would have to see it first. The S-400's radar is not state-of-the-art. The diagram above shows the distance-top radars would be able to see several current aircraft. A current true fifth-generation fighter has a radar cross-section smaller than 0.001 square meters.
Is there any way you can get better AC back here? Because there's no vent here. Dude, it's really hot in here. Well, I got the windows down. I got the air. Again, it's really hot in here. There's something burning in here. I don't know what it is, but it's really hot in here. Yeah, I'm about to have heat exhaustion back here. I'm about to have heat exhaustion back here. Do you not see my face right now? I'm telling you, it's hot. It's literally burning up back here.
I checked this car to make sure the fuel wasn't on.
And how was it?
It was hot as shit.
Hey everybody, Rage Crispy here. I just want to use this video as a backdrop to explain the video we're going to watch.
In a small town in Florida, a man named Jesse Lee found himself at odds with the Gulfport Police Department. This clash took a dramatic turn when it snowballed over the past few years to the point where Jesse was arrested on a felony battery on a law enforcement officer charge that would shed light on the treatment Jesse had endured. The story unfolds with a mixture of controversy, confrontation, and a quest for accountability. The Gulfport Police Department had long operated without a formal complaint process, leaving citizens like Jesse Lee with limited recourse. However, this situation changed when we brought attention to the department's practices. In a video, the short-tempered commander, Josh Stone, engaged in a heated argument with Jesse Lee over the flawed complaint process, casting a negative light on the police department's behavior.
I'm asking so everyone can hear you. Are you going to give me this in a complaint form to file a complaint against your officer?
And I filed an anonymous complaint against Gulfport PD.
Why can't you give me the form?
When you fill it out, it goes to us.
Oh, I can fill it out and I can give it back to you. Then it goes.
I'd like to file a complaint. Failure to take a citizen's complaint.
A complaint form. I've been wanting one for a while. I've asked for one for the last 2 years, and they refuse to give it to me.
He fills it out.
2 years, and I've been asking for it, and again, they refuse to give it to me. Give me the form.
That's horseshit.
Exactly. Unless they get it back and do this, and what exactly is confidential? It hasn't been filled out yet.
You have correctile dysfunction, Josh. That's called cop-splaining. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I mean, I go to law enforcement all over the state, all over the country. I've never, ever heard that a complaint can't be handed to the citizen. I'll double check with my
Because
chief.
it could potentially become super secret private. Come on, man.
It's been years. 2 years. 2 years I've been asking for one, and you haven't given it to me because apparently it's national security. It's been national security. No. I've asked for it in person plenty of times.
2 days ago.
No, I haven't. I've asked 2 years in this and by multiple officers for this. And again, go get it for me then. You're telling me that it's national security when it hasn't even been filled out yet.
As long as my friend can protect my back whenever he's available.
Give me the form.
Not on Friday, but
I don't want Friday. I want the form.
Not on Friday. I'll get in touch with him. He'll get in touch with you, or we could all. You have my email, right? It's crispy@gmail.
Rich Crispy, I think I've seen you before online and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Cindy has it,
Yeah.
I'm sure I can find it. I'll email you my schedule.
So you know how I operate.
Yes, sir.
2 days after our visit, they implemented an online complaint process, but they changed their policy to record official complaints in a database because they weren't following that policy anyway. Jesse had been seeking to file complaints against several officers who had targeted him due to his ice cream cart bicycle business, which they claimed was operating unlawfully without a permit, as well as complaints regarding another member of the community named Ray Rodriguez, who has also been targeted by this department.
Just keep winning these awards because of your great police force, and The reason I think is because you don't hand out police compliment or complaint forms. Listen to me first. When I'm sorry, I'm getting excited. When I want to come in and file a complaint against
Hey, it's a very bad idea having
when
people
I'm
to
told
terminate
that I have to meet with their supervisor back here in a room. 3 times I've come to this police station and had been intimidated and bullied by police officers after I left.
Jesse's frustration mounted when he faced resistance in obtaining records from City Hall, located in the same building as the police department.
He's got an email. The other one got an email. The other one got notice. I have recordings left and right, and no one's doing anything. They sent these signs playing games with me to go. I already did that. How many do I have to send? And then the next time I come in, I have to resend another one because apparently some people want to ignore me. I already did that though. I already did it. So he can pull up his email, including the other officer, have him pull it up, and then finally give me the material that I'm looking for. Because it seems like you guys are hiding something for one odd reason.
Feeling bullied and disregarded, Jesse's emotions got the better of him when he thought they gave him a blank disc, leading him to throw the CD near the officer's feet. The officers used this opportunity to arrest Jesse for battery on a law enforcement officer when he was at the public library because a library worker who knew him called the police to tip them off to tell them where he was. If that isn't a sign of a corrupt system, I don't know what is. Jesse is an obnoxious person who has the right to be rude, and he may be demanding when dealing with public servants. However, let's focus on the behavior of so many, not just one, but so many public servants who have mistreated this man and others. From a commander unlawfully running his records when Jesse was the victim of assault, to a clerk flipping him off when trying to get records for Ray. They all have a problem with him and want to point fingers at him to deflect their childish, unprofessional, and even criminal behavior on our dime. The most alarming incident occurred during Jesse's arrest when the police placed him in the back of a sweltering police car with the heater on a scorching Florida day. You can see that only 5 minutes after putting him in the car, they arrived at the sally port under shade where they could have taken him inside or left him there, but instead they drove back out into the hot parking lot to let him bake for the better part of an hour before another officer arrived to stop this inhumane behavior and call for medical assistance. Jesse believes this act was an intentional attempt to endanger his life and silence his valid complaints against the department.
Now, I'm not a lawyer, and neither are many of the people in the comment section who are going to be citing case law like Castle Rock versus Gonzalez, where the police don't have a duty to protect you. Now, this is not legal advice, so I defer to
They do if you're in their custody, though.
brilliant legal mind and one of my
They do have a
favorite
duty.
YouTube channels.
By the way, when the police take somebody into custody, especially after handcuffing them, the police then become responsible for that person's safety.
All right, for the rest of the video of Jesse in the back of the car, I'm going to speed it up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, Steve
but
Leto.
You'll see
Leto.
by the timestamp that it's
My favorite
11:44.
Finn lawyer.
It was put in there 5 minutes ago.
We attended a public council meeting.
Basically, we called out the chief of police, Bobby Vincent, and Commander Josh Stone, who are Florida law enforcement accreditation board members, for being hypocrites, saying that they have a stellar record at their department.
During an interview with Chief Bobby Vincent following the meeting, the chief callously admitted that despite the newly implemented complaint process, he would not accept any complaints from Jesse Lee, effectively treating him as a second-class citizen.
Perhaps you, as a commissioner, can correct that bad behavior.
Is there any way you can get better AC back here? Because there's no vents here.
You want the windows down? I don't have
You don't mind, is that I don't know how anyone sits back here to this with this. You guys are perfectly comfortable in front, but have you ever sat back here? Yep. And close your door? So all the cameras running now? I want to make sure that this and the little conspiracy theories and thing get caught on camera.
In a deposition with Commander Stone conducted by Jesse's defense attorney, Stone admitted that they had no complaint record regarding the incident, but did review the video, and just when the attorney started asking him the hard question about other video of the incident, the deposition was cut short due to being 20 minutes over time.
friends at the.
I'm gonna roll these. I gotta roll these windows up because I'm gonna get out of the car for a minute. But I'll have this.
Well, how am I supposed to listen breathe? Even then, you pulled me out into the heat. Now even worse.
What's that?
And we were in the shade before into this, and I couldn't even get it nice and cool back here.
That's crazy.
Jesse, what is your rate for the application?
Like what?
Your rate, because per the DMV, you're listed as Native American.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Native American.
Yeah, Native American Latino. Yeah.
Okay, Native American.
You should have known that by now. You placed me as white this entire time. I'm hoping you're proud of yourself at the very moment.
So would it also classify like Hispanic maybe?
I'm not Hispanic. I'm Latino. Native American Latino.
Okay. All right.
He had to take a plea deal on his battery on a law enforcement officer charge, but with this new trespassing charge, he's fighting it, and he will not be silenced. He wants justice, and he needs a good lawyer for that. There's a GoFundMe linked in the description. If you would consider helping him out, I would appreciate it, and so would he. Thank you.
Dude, it's really hot in here.
Well, I got the windows down. I got the air.
Again, it's really hot in here. There's something burning in here. I don't know what it is, but it's really hot in here. Well, you got as comfortable as you need it for your front, but it's not as comfortable as it's being back here. Yeah, I'm about to have heat exhaustion back here. I'm about to have heat exhaustion back here. Do you not see my face right now? I'm telling you, it's hot. It's literally burning up back here, and I'm being told to make myself comfortable. Well, responsive, yes, but place me outside before I'm not responsive. Put me on the curb or something. Sit down. You guys are acting like I'm about to run away. No one's running away. But I'm telling you, it is hot in here. Yes, but you're not back here is what I'm telling you. It's hot. It really is. I'm not trying to listen to be a whiner or complainer. If it was comfortable, but seriously, this is like unhumanitarian. How do you have people in the back of your squad cars and waiting around for people to show up into this and for God knows how many minutes like this? Oh, now you're going to hotbox me in here. Go for whatever. Go ahead. You start transport to the PD. Careful. You don't have a cell inside in that police department to put me in?
What's that?
You don't have a place to put me inside the police department on a bench?
No.
Where there's there's nothing in there, huh? We have to be put in place in the back of a car sweating like a $2 whore. You really don't care if anyone suffers back here, do you? You can have the temperature and what it is back here? Is there a thermostat somewhere?
No.
You should put one back here because it's seen and how hot is it? Are these supposed to be events up here? What, those supposed to be vents? AC vents right there? No, that's the camera there. What are these here? That's supposed to be an AC vent? Where's an AC vent here so I can actually adjust myself properly? Please call and look in the EMT. Now I want to request some medical attention. I can't be back here to this end just because you guys think it's cute. So have your fire department come here to this end. We'll go right outside this car and descend the way we're supposed to. Medical attention? This is abusive. Do you need medical attention? Yes. Call them.
That's
And at this
nuts.
point, you won't give me this at least human rights. Go ahead.
Sure, that's E51 times 20, reference my 1015 for evaluation, please.
Yeah, well. Alright, medical's on the way. They'll come check you out. This is inhumane. You should put a thermostat back here. Hey, Jesse. Want to slide out of here? Come here so that he can do. Well, you should have thought about that before. What I was asking you to do is what I'm saying. I've been complaining. I told you. You even agreed that something so. I'm trying to listen, but my leg's on the other side. So relax. I have to work my way here. Not like I have an tempo pass to work with, do I? Well, what do you think is going to happen when I don't have hands? I don't know how you want to do this.
In a shocking revelation captured by the police car's interior camera from his latest bogus arrest for trespassing, Jesse confronted the arresting officer about the previous incident where he was left to overheat. Astonishingly, the officer admitted that his fellow officers were wrong in subjecting Jesse to such treatment.
No one's demanding too much of them in this time, but this has been 5 years of me being bullied, 5 years of me being falsely arrested and harassed, but none of those laws apply to me. I got in this thing, your fucking mayor passing by my house saying, "F you, Jesse," and harassing me, sticking his middle finger, and I got them showing up to my job, threatening the owners. I got them doing all types of shit. And then one time you investigated, and it's even the person who sent me a threatening text message saying, "I'm going to kill you later today." Not once. When the f did you try anything to go after the person who attempted to kill me? Okay, when's the last time you went after when they tried to kill me in the back of a cop car? What do you mean who? They hotboxed me on purpose, and you know that.
I dealt with that.
Okay, but no one filed any charges. You didn't go after the f***ing officer who did it.
I told my sergeant about that. I was asking about that. The officers that were there was asking.
And guess what happened? Your cameras went right the f*** off, and it's at that very moment that I had it. Oh, no. But again, it's in the cameras, nowhere to be found. When the EMT showed up, and then again, no cameras. None of it.
I'm part of the reason you got out of it.
Thank the fucking Lord. Thank the Lord, and that I almost fell asleep, and passed out in the back of that car, that I had enough energy to fucking complain about it.
I'm not asking you crazy.
100 and something degrees back there, and with no fucking AC, and these assholes decide to put on the fucking heater. You gotta be kidding me.
That shit ain't right.
Okay, and then where's the criminal charges then?
I brought it up.
That's probably the best candidate
And
you've
who's
ever
your command
seen.
that you brought it to them?
Okay.
Which is?
She is going to give notice to her
Who's your
last
sergeant?
employer.
Yeah,
Oh, of course. The one again who is then placing wagers and bets
Yeah,
on
that's
my
what I
arrest.
said. You know, that's
Of course,
she's
I'm
like,
gonna
well, a
get
lot of places. I'm like, no, I
justice
would expect
here.
the same thing. So
So you literally went to him and said it's up that you try to fucking kill this from the back of a fucking cop car and but nothing. How interesting.
To 16, which is the minimum she was.
Again, it is said, but again, rights don't apply to me.
no, I get it.
You got criminals and your fucking badges,
Oh, yeah,
and
right.
and again,
told her,
nothing
and-
ever happens to them.
Okay, so
I told Richard, really, we need to.
But we're supposed to respect officers.
I used to have a good feeling.
We're supposed to be
I
encouraging
did too.
media
That's
for
why.
you.
That's
If you're
why
getting
they're like
attacked,
he's
we're
in
supposed to
talking
stop.
about
We're
the
supposed to
email.
help. We're supposed to render
Probably
services.
the best candidate you've ever.
We're supposed to do nothing but talk great stuff about you because God forbid we're not.
I don't trust myself anymore.
I get burned all the time.
Literally try to murder me in the back of a fucking cop car.
Right, I'll let her know.
And again, no one did.
Yes, sir.
Talking about it and doing something are completely two different things. Thank you very much, Innocent, for speaking up on it, Innocent. But I would have liked the. What was his name, Mackenzie, or whatever the fuck his name was? The same one who got fired, Innocent, for stealing, right? I'd like him to be put in cuffs, right? Aren't there laws, Innocent, that.
Stuff like that is above me. I don't have clearance to do that type of stuff.
So you witness one of your officers attempting to murder me, Innocent, and that's not something that you can do anything about. How interesting.
I can intervene at that time, yes, to stop what's going on. But from that point forward, I have to speak with my supervisor, and they have to do what they have to do about that. But to stop it in that immediate moment, that's what I can do. And that's what I did. I'm the one that requested for medical to come check you out after you said you wanted to be checked out.
Yep.
I called for medical to come check you out.
Yeah.
I checked his car to make sure the heater wasn't on.
And how was it?
It was hot as shit back there.
Yeah, no, okay. So, what do you think? 114, 120? Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, let's go ahead and stick you in the back of a fucking car in this, and let's take off your vest and give you everything else, and put you in the middle of the sun, and we'll lock you back there in for the better part of 30, 40 minutes.
Jesse Lee's battle against the Gulfport Police Department highlights the significance of transparency, accountability, and fair treatment in law enforcement. Thanks to the efforts of Acura Amanda, James Madison, and other concerned citizens, Jesse's case garnered attention, shedding light on the department's shortcomings. As this story continues to unfold, it serves as a reminder that individuals like Jesse can play a crucial role in holding authorities accountable, ensuring that justice is served and equal treatment under the law is upheld.
Please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. We're almost at 100,000, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you.
So he had to be told, and it's going to take me out of there, and it's going to put me directly in the sun, knowing that there was no AC in the back of the actual car, and turn on that heat and send the hot box my ass. But of course, you had a conversation that said as I was attempting to be murdered. But I appreciate it, because what I would have loved to see is was someone put in fucking cuffs. Because it's a criminal thing.
I do what I can. I do what I can. I understand you may hate me, you may not like me.
No. I just don't like the fact that you consistently keep lying on certain issues.
Sorry, Charlie.
All right. Yeah, that was nuts, wasn't it?
Came inside and asked could we use the restroom.
Yeah.
She told him, yeah, you could go upstairs, but he didn't go.
Okay.
He just went on out the door, and now he's kind of hanging out front.
All right, I'll ask him.
So just sweetly ask him to just
Yeah.
float along.
Yes, ma'am. I'll take care of that for you.
You can't stand in front of my City Hall to my sports only vet. Like,
Well, I mean,
we can't have
if
that.
it wasn't
You can't stand in front of my City Hall to my sports only vet. Like,
well, I mean,
we can't have
if
that.
it wasn't city, all right, I'll ask him.
So just sweetly ask him to just
Yeah.
float along.
Yes, ma'am. I'll take care of that for you. So, I'm not trying to give you a hard time, dude. So, is there a reason why you want to stand here?
God put it in my heart to stand right here and spread the message. God bless the homeless.
I'm all for that. I'm all for you recording. I got no issue with that. Okay.
All right.
I got my body cam on. So
Okay.
I don't even know what that's for. Probably so you can get across the intersection. Anyways, so what I did was I called for a patrol unit because I'm actually working for the code enforcement section. Okay. I'm still a police officer. This is city property. Okay. And you do have the right to spread your message anywhere you want, unless it's private property. Then they have a right to ask you to leave. They can't tell you tear your sign up or anything like that.
Right.
But that's the whole point of why I was out here talking to you. The ladies didn't feel comfortable with somebody just hanging out in front of City Hall.
Okay.
and being that it's on city property, they have the right to ask you to leave. You can go stand on that corner. You can go stand anywhere it's not actual city property and do as you wish, brother, and spread the message. So that's all I'm saying. Okay. Now, if you refuse to leave, then it would be trespassing, and then you'd be in trouble. So I'm asking you nicely, it's just to relocate. That's all I'm asking you to do. You can go spread that message with love any way you want, other than city property right here. Exactly. You understand what I'm saying?
This is city property.
All this is city hall. It's just city property.
All right. Am I being trespassed?
As of now, you are. Give me your ID. Now we're down to an investigation. I want your ID. No, give me your ID. You're not free to go now. Because now you want to play the game. Go ahead and give me your identification.
If you're trespassing me, I'll leave.
Give me that identification, you're going to jail.
Give me
your identification so I can identify you and I can trespass you. Then you can leave. I'm not going to ask you a third time.
If I get arrested, I'll lose my job.
I'm not trying to arrest you. I'm trying to get you to comply with me, and you're trying to refuse to do that. So listen to me carefully. I want your identification so I can identify you and trespass you.
Suspect me of?
Sir?
What crime do you suspect me of?
You're failing to follow a lawful order, which is they've asked you to leave city property or asked me to ask you to leave. You're refusing to do so. Now I'm going to trespass you from the property because I asked you 3 times nicely to step off somewhere else.
Leave, then?
Nope. Now you wanted to refuse, so now I'm going to identify you and I can trespass you.
If I don't give you my ID, I'll go to jail.
That's exactly correct. You'll be arrested. You'll be fingerprinted and released. So all I want is your identification. No, not because of the sign, but because you failed to comply with my investigation, which was I asked you to leave nicely initially. You wanted to play the game with me. Now I'm playing the game with you.
Well, I said
Let me have your identification.
I said I would
Identification. I'm not going to say it. Handcuffs. Turn around.
I'm engaged in constitutional protection.
Turn around. Let me see your sign. You put your phone in your pocket. All you have to do is give me your ID, bud. What's so hard with that? You know the game because you want to say, am I being trespassed? You could have gave me your ID. I would have trespassed you and let you walk off, brother.
Yeah, you're telling me to leave. I would rather not leave.
No, you're playing the game with me is what you're doing.
If you're trespassing me, I'll leave.
I asked you to leave before that. You wanted to play the game and make me trespass you. Don't play dumb games, man. It's going to get you in trouble.
Wow.
Despite the fact that my arrest was an obvious and egregious violation of my civil rights, the city of Port Wentworth and the state of Georgia pursued criminal prosecution against me for the bogus charge of obstruction. For nearly 2 years, I was compelled to travel from my hometown of St. Augustine, Florida, to Savannah, Georgia, multiple times to attend court hearings that resulted in the cancellation of the current court hearing that I just drove hours to attend, only to announce another court hearing that I would have to drive hours to attend at a future date. Finally, on May 25th, 2023, after 2 years of malicious prosecution, the criminal charge of obstruction was finally dropped. Now, in July of 2023, nearly 2 years to the date of the July 2021 arrest, I have filed a civil rights lawsuit against Robert Heminger in his individual capacity. And by the way, Robert Heminger has been promoted from sergeant to lieutenant since the day he violated my rights. I am blessed to be represented by 2 of the finest civil rights organizations in the world, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, or FIRE, and the University of Georgia's First Amendment Clinic. Port Wentworth, Georgia, July 17th, 2023. Police in Georgia keep failing an easy test. Does the First Amendment protect the right to hold a sign reading "God Bless the Homeless Vets" in front of City Hall and the right to film police officers in public? Spoiler alert, it sure does. Today, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression filed a lawsuit on behalf of Gray challenging his arrest by a Port Wentworth police officer. Following lawsuits on behalf of Gray in Alpharetta, Georgia and Blackshear, Georgia, this is FIRE's 3rd case related to Peach State police officers' constitutional illiteracy, and it's the 2nd brought with the help of the University of Georgia School of Law's First Amendment Clinic. Maybe Big Dummy Heminger should take his own advice about playing dumb games.
Rather not leave.
No, you're playing the game with me is what you're doing.
If you're trespassing me, I'll leave.
I asked you to leave before that. You wanted to play the game and make me trespass you. Don't play dumb games, man. It's going to get you in trouble.
So he had to be in handcuffs while they wrote him a ticket. All right, well, I'm going to cut the stream. Been up about 3 hours now. I guess shit I got to do. I may kick it back on later on tonight, or I might even play some poker or something. Thanks for those that did hang out on all the platforms. Peace.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with, now they looking nervously. And I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet next to me. I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. Coming out with a statement. You really changed, man, all your music and arrangement. You don't know shit, shut your mouth, you can save it. I'm the same dude that got his come up from the basement. 100 songs, 100 weeks, didn't change it. Experiments, development, intelligence, and patience. I'll do it all again, cause I never feel complacent. Let's keep the good vibes, positivity's contagious. I'm never looking back, cause I made a life that's passionate. A college graduate suppressing all his talents, yeah. He found a way to go and change, become an advocate. For taking control of your life, go out and battle. And you think you have a dream, then act on it, get after it, get out your head and fucking capture it. You got one life to master it. Don't give up on your future. We all start losers. We're all late bloomers, gotta struggle through the sewer. What you say? Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack